Teterow in Germany, and it is the opening stages of the first ever Monster Energy FIM Speedway of Nations. The new trophy for a new era at World Speedway level. Pairs action coming into play. Race off one in Teterow in Germany, where the top two go through to the final, and race off two will be in Manchester on Tuesday evening. The format for tonight's action: after 21 heats, we go into heat number 22, where there is a race-off for the side that are going to meet in heat 23. We know the top two will already be through to the final in Poland next weekend, but then it's ultimately the winner of heat 23 and the direct shootout who will then join the first and second team in that final over 2 nights, Friday and Saturday, in Wrocław, Poland. So it is Teterow this evening and then Manchester on Tuesday to decide who will be the first ever finalists in the Monster Energy FIM Speedway of Nations, with Poland already through as the host nation.
We had a good competition in the Speedway World Cup, very exciting, but now it's time for something new, and we're really excited about that as well. It's a new format. The main reason for that is to bring more nations into the sport. We've got 15 nations competing in this tournament, and it's just not bringing more nations in, it's bringing more competitive nations as well. So where we may have a few nations that were competitive to become world champion, this is now so open, and I'm really excited about seeing that. We got several nations that will grab points from each other, and yeah, we're very excited about that.
15 nations doing battle for the Monster Energy FIM Speedway of Nations title a week tonight in Wrocław, Poland. 15 nations over 4 nights in 3 different countries, and we start here in Teterow, Germany, at the Bergring, and alongside me is Kelvin Tatum MBE, a former England World Cup winner and a man who has done a few laps on the huge long track, grass track circuit here at the Bergring in Teterow, and has been hugely successful and is a local celebrity around here. Kelvin, nice to be back.
Yes, delighted to be back, and I must say a big thank you to the Teterow Motorcycle Club for allowing me to do a few laps yesterday, which was great fun. But a big night of Speedway in prospect, the introduction of the Speedway of Nations, giving more opportunities to more countries. Team riding will be very much to the fore throughout the next 4 meetings. We'll be keeping an eye on that. We have had a threat of thunderstorms all around here throughout the day, but fortunately they have stayed away. And we are looking forward to a very competitive night of team riding. The Germans, of course, will be very keen to make it through. Nigel and Pepe Rudolph, their team manager, who I used to race against, had a good chat with him, and they are very keen to make the finals in Wrocław. They feel they've got a good chance with their 2 boys tonight.
Yes, there's tactics to come into play tonight with gate positions for the riders, but also team riding itself. When we get out to the knockout stages, Kelv, effectively second and third is more successful than the winner. But during the regular heats, 21 races, you've just got to get your head down and worry about scoring as many points as possible. Yeah,
but 3-alls will be important throughout the night as well. If there's a tie on points, 3-alls will then come into effect. Almost like a bonus
yeah.
point will be allocated to a 3-all if there's count back and a draw necessary to split teams. So yes, you must keep battling away if at all possible.
And you've got to keep looking for your partner.
Absolutely indeed. Riders are beginning to now make their way down the slope out of the pits to enter the arena. Greg Hancock, of course, who has been and done it and got the t-shirt, of course. Greg, a 4-time individual world champion, back to represent Team USA in the Speedway of Nations, and that's great news for Lance King and his troops.
Absolutely. First race of the night coming up then here in the Bergring in Teterow. Has been a real hot, humid couple of days. And as Kelvin mentioned earlier, there was the threat of thunderstorms all around the Bergring a little bit earlier, and we did say we'd be very fortunate to avoid it, and thankfully we have done. We've just had a few spits of rain, so we're about to get underway. 7 nations doing battle here this evening, including the USA, with the Grand Prix legend, the 4 times world champion Greg Hancock, and we're about to get underway with heat number 1 next. First race of the night here. Welcome along to our UK viewers. Good to have you with us. Kelvin Tatum, former England World Cup winner, and also, of course, regular on the commentary scene, on the international scene here, and a specialist around the Bergring long track, and proved that yesterday. Kelvin, really looking forward to a bit of team riding at world level.
Absolutely, and it's going to be great to see some new nations. Ukraine, not that familiar with their two boys. Of course, we're going to be very familiar with the man on the inside gate. The team managers will be able to allocate which way round they go. For example, Heat 1 and 3 were the American gates. They can choose where the riders go. So Hancock is going to go from the inside gate in the opening race. And the Ukraine team, very interesting to see how they get on.
3 points for a win, 2 for second, 1 for third, nothing for finishing last. But if he gets to count back, a bonus point effectively for second and third. Team riding is important. Hancock off the inside. Gate 2 is Karpov here. Gate 3 is the man in blue, Manzeras, and Loktaev goes off the outside for Ukraine. And the man off gate number 2, Karpov, really gets a flyer, and Christina Turnbull has already put the red light on for heat number 1 here at the Bergring.
Wow. He was very, very fortunate not to touch the tapes. I think his peak did touch the tapes as the tapes went up. Gino Manzeras, we've got a fabulous eye view of these tapes. You see it there with Karpov just jumping the start, a warning for him.
But Manzeras was moving.
He was rolling. The clutch looked like on his bike it was dragging him forward, and an untidy start to heat number 1. And now there'll be a delay. It's a warm evening. It cooled off when we had the cloud cover and there was a thunderstorm literally just to the south of us. But it's now the humidity is raised again, and we have high temperatures here. They haven't had any rain here at the Bergring for 6 weeks, and it really is very different to the UK, that's for sure. But
well, when we got here, Kelvin, we looked around, and you did say, didn't you, that ultimately if we avoid the thunderstorms around here, we're going to be very, very fortunate, and we have been fortunate.
Yeah, we have. When we arrived, it was very much following us into the stadium, but it's just drifted round. And we look like we're set fair for a clear evening. Heat number 1, they're just gently getting themselves back up to tapes. There's going to be some nerves with the younger nations or the less experienced riders at this level, and I think we saw clear evidence of that in heat number 1 with young Karpov there just charging the tapes. He knows he's got a 4-time world champion on gate 1, so he's got to feel that he needs to make something special out of gate 2.
Karpov is a regular in the Polish league with Rybnik, and he has got a warning to his name already, I can tell you. Christina Turnbull has issued a warning to the rider in the white helmet colour to sit still at the start. Gino Manzeras in blue had a hectic day yesterday. Rode in Glasgow for Scunthorpe, travelled all the way down to Gatwick Airport overnight, and got a flight this morning to be here for the Speedway of Nations. That's dedication for you. Luke Becker ruled out through injury for the USA. He is here with the USA side, gaining experience. Lance King, the team manager, was very keen to include Luke Becker, even as a non-rider, here in the Bergring tonight. So we'll try again with heat number 1. Second time of asking. It's team riding, remember. Second and third can be oh so important. It's the USA in the red and blue, Ukraine in the white and yellow. Hancock has made a good start now, and Manzeras is challenging Karpov up the inside, and the USA are on a 4-2. That'll do for them. Hancock, you can be sure, will look over his shoulder at some stage. Manzeras having a real go here, trying for third spot now. Second place in yellow is Loktaev, and Karpov will put Manzeras under pressure. Gino, who has raced for the USA before in the World Cup, but it's all about pairs racing tonight.
Indeed it is, and the textbook stuff from Hancock out in front. No surprise to see that. There was a clash early on with Manzeras forcing his way up the inside, trying to push Loktaev out of the way in the opening lap, but it hasn't worked out for him. He's back in third, but it's a heat advantage for America, and they'll be pleased with that. Karpov just losing out on the opening lap, but he's coming on strong out the back. Hancock is comfortable in front. He's got the race in his back pocket.
Yeah, Hancock looking super smooth, as you would expect for a 4-times world champion. And great to see him back in USA colours at this level, because he has taken a couple of years out of World Cup racing. But with the new format and the pairs, Hancock clearly feeling that he wanted to do his bit for his country, and they've made a winning start in the first race of the night. The USA have got a 4-2 win over the Ukraine in the opening race of the evening, inspired by Hancock, but Manzeras doing his job, keeping Karpov at the back as well. Good effort.
Absolutely a good effort, and it was quite a forceful opening lap from Manzeras. We'll see it again. The tapes are up and the bikes are powering to the first corner. As they get there, the boy on the outside, Loktaev there, makes a really good fist of it. Here comes Manzera as he charges up the inside of Karpov, gets the better of him. Seeing it again, Greg Hancock has already looked to his right to look for his teammate. Almost as he dropped the clutch, Greg actually looked to his right, aware that he needs to be doing the team riding. Manzera is forceful on the opening lap, grabs that third place and a 4-2. As you can see, the reaction from the leader of the USA, Hancock, is very pleased to get a 4-2. They're very keen to make the final. There's no doubt about that. Chatting with Lance King before the event, they want to go to Wrocław and enjoy the final over 2 days.
Well, we remind you that Poland are already in the final as the host nation, but tonight the top two after 21 heats will join them in Wrocław, and then we have a couple of race-offs to decide the third nation from tonight to go through to the final, which is over 2 nights, next Friday and Saturday in Wrocław, and you can be sure the atmosphere will be stunning there. Heat number 2 here sees Russia against Slovenia. Russia in the red and blue helmet colours, and Slovenia are in white and yellow. And
well,
it's just a reminder, 3 points for a win, 2 for second, 1 for third, but if you finish second and third, the count back can be vital for finishing second and third at the end of 21 races.
3 Grand Prix riders here, and Saifutinov and Artem Laguta in good form. Zagar has very fond memories of the Burgering. He won the Grand Prix here last September when he was on that wonderful run of form that saw him secure his Grand Prix future. So Zagar knows the best way round here. Could be quite a tussle. Got to believe that the old man out here is Matic Ivacic, and he won't have the same experience and possibly may feel a little bit out of his depth in heat number 2. Gates 1 and 3 for the Russians. A lot of people's favourite for tonight, the Russians. Laguta and Saifutinov could go a long way in this competition.
Yeah, and a lot of people saying they fancy them for the title overall. It is pairs racing.
Yep.
It's the Monster Energy FIM Speedway of Nations, and it's heat number 2. Russia in the red and blue helmet colour. Slovenia in white and yellow. Laguta's made a good start. And Zagar is second, and Saifutinov locks up on that first turn and just about maintains control of the bike. But now, all the pressure on Artem Laguta with Mati Zagar chasing him hard. Third in yellow is Matic Ivacic for Slovenia, and Emil Saifutinov made a real hash of that first turn as Zagar takes up the chase here.
Well, Saifutinov, I can't believe he stayed on board there. He turned himself inside out in the first corner. A little bit greasy. Zagar will push him really hard. This is a bonus, there's no doubt about that. For Slovenia, looking like a 3-all, Britain all over it unless Zagar can find a way past Laguta. Laguta from the inside gate, worked a treat. He's doing sterling work for the Russians and he needs to. A lap to go. Zagar looking for a way through, but I just sense that Laguta should have this one covered.
Yeah, Artem Laguta has already made a big impression in 2 Grand Prix in Warsaw and in Prague. He's a terrific rider, and now Zagar's going to try the inside run, but Laguta's got enough pace. Laguta holds out there for the Russian side, but Mati Zagar and Matic Ivacic get a 3-all there because of Saifutinov's error, which you can only put it down to, really. It must be an error in the first turn there. Yeah, absolutely. So 3 points apiece for those 2 nations. So USA lead on 4 after the first couple of heats here. 4 points to the USA, 3 to Russia, 3 to Slovenia, and 2 to the Ukraine after 2 heats.
Yeah, we'll just watch this first corner from Saifutinov. Just caught out by the greasy conditions in the first turn. Well, I can't really believe he stayed on board. Laguta, though, comes to the party for the Russians. He's out in front. It's a strong ride by Zagar in second place, but there isn't a lot of grip on the track at this early stage, and as hard as he tried, Zagar could not find a way. Again, we're looking at Saifutinov going backwards there, and he's very fortunate that the bike doesn't actually grip underneath him and chuck him off the back, and he'll be okay to continue later on. I'm sure we'll see much more from him, but a good tussle out in front with Laguta hanging on and picking up a vital 3 points, but a bonus 3 points and a 3-all here for Slovenia, and that may be useful later on, but quite a good tussle out in front.
Absolutely. Heat number 3 coming up, and it will be the Germans against Latvia. Here we see Laguta, terrific rider, made a real impression in the opening stages of the Grand Prix series. It is an early break for the Grand Prix this year, of course, after only a couple of rounds, and we'll be back at the end of this month in Horsens in Denmark for round number 3, but But this week it's a hectic week of Speedway. Tonight here in Germany, Tuesday at Bellevue in Manchester at the National Speedway Stadium, and then next Friday and Saturday at Wrocław in Poland. Kelvin Tatum's former track in the Polish League days of your career, Kel.
Yes, absolutely, and they've had a huge makeover in Wrocław. It really is a spectacular stadium these days. A new track has been laid. I'm expecting something quite spectacular next weekend. Thoroughly looking forward to it.
Yep, heat number 3, Germany in the red and blue helmet colours here. Kai Hülkenberg is in red, and Martin Smolinski. We know all about Smolly. He is Germany's top rider.
Well,
he's in the blue helmet colour.
Absolutely, and both have Grand Prix experience here. They've represented Germany as wildcards in the Grand Prix. So Hülkenberg is a local lad. Smolinski is not. He's from the south of Germany, from the Bavarian region. So, but still a strong following for the Germans, and they are keen to make the final.
Andrzej Lebedev's in white and Kas Podzuks in yellow off gate number 4. Germany in red and blue, Latvia in white and yellow, and it's a good start from Hülkenberg off the inside.
Whoa.
And Smolinski has been squeezed out. Now charging hard around the outside is Kas Podzuks, but it's a good ride from Kai Hülkenberg. Leading the way for Germany. Smolinski is going to be wound up, and Smolinski charging hard up the inside here for third spot, battling for everything here, and Smolinski has come through. Martin Smolinski in blue has come through into third spot right now. It's Kai Hülkenberg the leader. Second place Kas Podzuks for Latvia. Third in blue is Martin Smolinski, who's being hunted down by Lebedev, who's a good rider. We've seen him in Grand Prix appearances do well, and a real battle for second developing now as well.
Yeah, real tussle for second, third and fourth. Big move from Smolinski early in the race to grab that vital third place. Lebedev's overdoing it on the outside. Got to say, Hülkenberg is away. That inside gate is really proving to be an advantage in the opening races. He's comfortable. Podzuks second, Smolinski third. That's a handy 4-2 for the Germans in their opening heat.
Yep, and it was Podzuks looking over his shoulder, trying to help his partner through Lebedev's, but Smolinski did enough, and Germany get a 4-2. And they're delighted with that. The home crowd really pleased with that start for Germany. From Hülkenberg, the race winner, Smolinski, who was really squeezed out early on, he was third behind Kas Podzuks for Latvia. So it's 4 points to Germany and 2 to Latvia. So Germany join the USA at the top of the standings on 4 points in the early stages. Latvia and Ukraine are on 2, and Russia and Slovenia are on 3 apiece.
Inside gate is working brilliantly in the opening heats. Got to say, Podzuks very nearly makes it from the outside, but there isn't much grip off the line at this early stage, and he can't get round the outside of Hülkenberg. Big move from Smolinski here. Watch him come underneath Lebedev's there. Really does charge hard into the third corner, and that he very nearly goes down there. He gets a clip on his front wheel from Lebedev's. That fires him up, and Smolinski comes charging up the inside and gets the better of Lebedev. It's a race-long battle. In actual fact here, just momentarily, it looked like the German Smolinski was going to steal second place away from the Latvians, but Podzuks responds. Podzuks was actually riding smart here. He was trying to slow the race down and give his partner every chance of getting the better of Smolinski. Just doesn't quite work out. These are the subtleties of team racing that we're beginning to see at the very early stages of the Speedway of Nations. Good stuff for the Germans though, 4 points in the bag.
Yeah, that will do nicely for them as we build up here to heat number 4 in the Speedway of Nations, and it is Denmark against the USA, so a second outing for the USA already, and the first time that we've seen Denmark. No Nicky Pedersen, remember. Niels Christian Iversen ruled out after having a successful shoulder operation in Barcelona on Monday. Should be back on a bike in 10 days or so, a couple of weeks' time. Niels, so it's Kenneth Bjerre and Michael Jepsen Jensen. Bjerre does ride in the UK for the Leicester Lions, and he's in the blue helmet colour here. And Michael Jepsen Jensen up against Greg Hancock and Gino Manzarez, who had that long old haul south to Gatwick last night from Glasgow, and then the early flight out here to Germany today. Heat number 4 it is. Let's just take you through the gate positions. Off the inside in blue for Denmark is Kenneth Bjerre. Gate number 2 in white is Greg Hancock for the USA. Gate 3 red for Denmark is Michael Jepsen Jensen. And off the outside in yellow, Gino Manzarez for the USA. So it's Denmark in red and blue helmet colours, USA in white and yellow helmet colours. Team racing, pairs action. Bergring in Teterow Heat number 4, a little bit of movement at the start, but the referee has allowed it to go. And Hancock has got that lead, and Manzarek is trying to come round and join him now. And Denmark, we remind you, didn't even make the race off last year in the World Cup. And Manzarek has lost it, and that allows Denmark through to split this at 3 apiece, and Pierre looks over his shoulder for Jensen.
Well, a scruffy start. I thought there'd be a red light, but there wasn't. And again, the riders again there were America. You've got to say that maybe the track experience, they were a little bit sharper there over the Danish boys, and particularly with the Danish pair having gates 1 and 3. Pierre is chasing Hancock, but Hancock is comfortable in front. Gino Manzarek, he threw second place away. He threw a 5-1 potential out of the door, but Hancock riding beautifully out in front. It's a delight to see him in the Speedway of Nations. Pierre and Jensen under massive pressure for Denmark in a 3-all situation.
Yeah, this is a super ride from the old master. Greg Hancock in the white helmet colour for the USA, chased by Kenneth Pierre, but no way through for Pierre. Hancock was so dominant, but as you said, Kelvin, has to be said, a missed opportunity there for the USA. Gino Manzarek slipped up early on and allowed the opportunity there for Denmark to come through. It's a shared heats there, 3 apiece, so USA move on to 7, and that is the first appearance that we have seen from Denmark, and they are on 3 points.
They are indeed, and they'll be disappointed with this, because although it was a scruffy start, neither of them were very sharp away from the tapes. This man was exemplary. He makes a fabulous start. Look how clear he is from gate 2. It looked like the Danish pair was sleeping on the start there, with Gino Manzarek getting the better of them. But unfortunate for Manzarek, gets a little overexcited in turns 3 and 4. Shame we don't see it, because that was key to the race in truth, with the 5-1 on the cards for the Americans, and he slips out of the picture.
Just to let you know then, it's USA 7 after 2 heats, Germany 4, 3 apiece for Russia, Slovenia and Denmark, and 2 apiece for Ukraine and Latvia. So we have a track grade now after 4 heats here. The next race will be the Ukraine against Russia. Real battle with Karpov, Loktaev, Laguta and Saifudinov.
Yeah, it's slightly unusual circumstances there, where you see a team having the second ride and Denmark coming out for their first ride, and it did appear that the Americans had a little bit of an advantage there, a little bit more sharpness on the start line, and just a disappointment for America that Gino Manzarek wasn't able to hang on to second place. Track is slick and not easy to overtake, so starting is very important if you want to get those points in the bag. But a decent start for America, and I must say they are very upbeat about their chances.
They are indeed, and it's a good start for them with 7 from 2 rides for USA. They'll settle for that. And it is Ukraine against Russia coming up, then Slovenia against Germany, then the Danes are back out for a second outing in Heat 7 when they'll be up against Latvia.
We haven't had much time to talk about the Danish team, but I think this is an opportunity to do so. They failed to make the race-off last year, and they failed to make the final the year before. For such a Speedway nation with such a rich history in World Championships, that's a bitter blow to them. So the management team will be very keen to see them go through to the finals tonight. They should do. They have the quality, they have the class to do so. So they'll be looking to improve as the night goes on. But no, it's been an interesting start to the night.
Now Kai Hülkenberg of Germany is with Kiri in the pits.
Kai, out for the first time in our Speedway of Nations. You won your first heat. How was it?
Yeah, it was great. I made a good start from gate 1, and yeah, I felt I had a good speed on the track. Bike's working good, and the track has changed a little bit, but I really like it, and yeah, now we need to stay focused and keep on going.
Okay, Martin also picked up some points, so good pair riding.
Yeah, I think when he's in front, he also got good speed, and later when we change the gates, we'll see how it is.
All right, thanks, Kai.
Thank you.
That's an interesting point that Kai picks up, because they will have to swap around to gates 2 and 4, but the team manager and the riders in conjunction will be able to choose which way round they go. So Kai certainly is aware that he had the advantage in the opening race. Gate number 1 was working very well, but interesting to see how it
Razem
goes.
z nami Gino Manzares. Jak zauważyłem, ten motocykl w pierwszym jego starcie kręcił. Czy zmieniał coś na drugi wyścig? As far as I saw, was a little bit spinning in the first time. Was there any big changes for the second run?
Just a little bit of a change due to some timing, but yeah, the next one, good start and good the first lap except that corner, but yeah, now I know just to be ready and yeah, it's game on.
Gra trwa rzeczywiście. W pierwszym starcie nieco się pomyliłem, potem naniosłem kosmetyczne zmiany, ale popełniłem błąd, dźwignęło mnie, ale teraz czuję, że jestem w grze i mogę być szybki. Na co liczą dzisiaj Amerykanie? Co są w stanie osiągnąć na tym bardzo odmoczonym torze? What's your main aim for tonight on this watering track?
It's track's a track, I want points. Points on the board and then make it to the final.
Nie obchodzi mnie stan toru, jak dużo wody w niego wlano. Gino mówi, że ja chcę punktów, chcemy awansować i po to tu przyjechaliśmy. Tyle. Gino Manzares, dziękuję Ci bardzo. Thank you very much.
No problem, thank you.
Gino Manzares back in Europe, back racing for Scunthorpe in the championship in the UK.
Some travel he had last night. That really is commitment to the cause. I do know that America are disappointed that Luke Becker is not fit to ride. He's a young rider that actually finished in style in Legno last year for the World Cup, and having a chat with him earlier on tonight, he is quite a character, and I think he could be a star for the future. He's got some under-21 racing to do coming up, and also going back to America later in June to continue on in the national championships there in Ventura, Southern California on the 23rd of June. So I'm sure we'll know a lot more about Luke Becker in the future.
Just a reminder, USA lead on 7 early on. Germany are on 4. Then we have Denmark on 3. Slovenia 3. Russia on 3. Here we go.
Gleb Czogunow razem z nami. Gleb, obserwowałeś swoich partnerów, świetnie pojechał Artiom. Jakie problemy miał Emil Sajfutdinow, mówił Ci?
Tak, mówił, że nie było dzisiaj opadów, ale nalali dużo wody, jakby były opady, nie? I po prostu nie wiedział, że ja myślę, że tam bardzo ślisko, nie? Poszło i tak wyszło, nie? To nie bardzo okej, ale ja myślę, chłopaki wyciągną, nie?
Czy to jest taki tor dla Ciebie, dla młodego człowieka? Chciałbyś tu się pościgać?
Tak, chciałbym wyjechać, jak Rosja będzie mieć więcej przewagi, to ja myślę, może Sagan wypuści mnie parę razy, nie? Chciałbym pojeździć, tak, fajny tor jest, nie?
Dziękuję pięknie, tyle. Gleb Czogunow.
Dzięki bardzo.
Well, Gleb Chugunov is a rider who's certainly impressed last year.
Very much so.
It was good to see. Here's the standings, just to confirm what I was saying before we went to the interview. USA 7, Germany 4 from one race, Russia, Slovenia and Denmark 3 apiece, the Ukraine and Latvia have 2. So the USA lead, but they have ridden one more race than everybody else.
Absolutely, that's a valid point, but it's a decent start for America. 7 out of 10 potential points is quite handy indeed. Seeing quite possibly the meeting favourites coming out for their second ride here. The Russians up against the Ukrainian boys, and they will be red-hot favourites here, Laguta and Saifutinov. They'll be going from gates 2 and 4. Be interesting to see which way round they line up. But Saifutinov will be a touch embarrassed about what happened in his first race. He's genuine world class, of course. Both of them are. Laguta is a vastly improved rider these days, and 2 and 4 for them in their second outing up against the Ukraine. So they'll be looking to try and get maximum score here.
Heat 5 coming up, on the way. So, USA lead so far, and this one is Ukraine against Russia. Ukraine in the red and blue, Russia white and yellow and black. So here we go with heat number 5 in the Bergring in Teterow then, and going off the inside, of course, we have the inside gate in red is Andrei Karpov, going off the inside in red. Gate 2 in white is Artem Laguta for the Russians, and going off gate number 3 in blue is Alexander Loktaev for the Ukraine, and going off the outside is Emil Saifutinov in yellow. So that's the lineup across the grid. Off the inside red, Andrei Karpov. Gate 2 in white, Artem Laguta. Gate 3 in blue, Alexander Loktaev. And off the outside in yellow, Emil Saifutinov. The Ukraine are in the red and blue helmet colours, and Russia are in the white and yellow.
Yep, can't be any clearer than that, that's for sure. Artem Laguta, gate 2. Saifutinov, gate 4. Red hot favourites for this one. Here we go.
Heat number 5 it is then. Oh, movement to the start.
Again,
I wonder-
Karpov.
Well, the race has been allowed to continue.
Oh,
Goodness me.
That's definitely unsatisfactory.
The red flags have come out, but I couldn't see a red light there. The flags have come out, and the red lights are flashing.
Had to be pulled back because
yeah.
Karpov, once again, on a warning. Get the feeling he'll be thrown out this time.
Yes, and there is no reserve for the Ukraine. Here we see it. Big night nerves.
Gotta say, Laguta gets away sharpish as well. He's watching him, of course, Karpov. Karpov, I believe, drops the clutch too early here. And he's very twitchy on the start. You can see that. And I think Christina Turnbull, the referee, he's lucky not to touch the tapes, but he's going to go anyway because he's already on a warning.
Yes, the information was that Karpov was given a warning, and the red light will come on for Karpov, and they cannot replace him because there is no under-21 rider available for the Ukraine to replace him. Bad news for the Ukraine.
Yeah, and it's a bad mistake because without a third rider in the camp, you can ill afford to make those sort of mistakes on the start line. And that time he didn't really have too much of an excuse. He had the inside gate. He's not looking at anybody. He's looking down at the magnet on the inside. And quite clearly he just feels a little nervous tonight. And you could see he twitched and went a little bit early. And the red lights came on. So bad news for Ukraine after a half-sensible start. But Karpov will have to sit this one out. But an opportunity for Russia, of course. They will be looking for 5 points here, Russia. And really on paper they should get the big 5-1.
Disappointment then for Andrei Karpov of the Ukraine, feeling the pressure and with no under-21 rider available to travel from the Ukraine for this meeting. It does mean that we have 3 riders only on the restart, and it does mean that Alexander Lokteyev is the man for the Ukraine. And it is bad news because Karpov is the man with lots of experience.
Absolutely.
He rides in the Polish league, Kelvin.
Yes. So it is a big mistake, but the rules allow the riders then to switch positions on the start line if they so choose, and that's exactly what's happened here, Nige. Lokteyev originally was on gate 3. He will now go in blue from gate 1, which he is perfectly entitled to do.
Yep, so heat number 5, second time of asking. It does mean that the lineup sees the man off the inside in blue will be Alexander Lokteyev. He's the man off the inside in blue. So Lokteyev taking the inside gate in the blue helmet colour. Then we have Artem Laguta in white off gate number 2 for Russia, and Emil Saifutinov going off the outside in yellow for Russia. 3 riders only, no rider off gate number 3. So the gate positions to confirm again. Lokteyev off the inside for the Ukraine. Gate 2 in white is Laguta for Russia, no rider off 3, and Emil Saifutinov off the outside in yellow for Russia.
Here we go.
Heat number 5. And they're away this time, and Lokteyev has made a lovely start off 1, but Saifutinov sweeps across nicely, locks up as well, but Lokteyev really having a go. It's a 4-2 to Russia as things stand right now. Emil Saifutinov has that advantage right now. Second place is Lokteyev on his own for the Ukraine, remember, and it's Laguta in third for Russia. 4-2 as things stand in favour of Russia.
Could be worse, you know, for Ukraine. Got to say, Lokteyev used that inside gate well, and he's having a real go in second place, and Artem Laguta from gate number 2 hasn't been able to land a blow, and Russia are missing a trick here. Only a 3-all in their opening account. 4 points is okay, but I'm sure they would have fancied the 5 for the big 5-1 here. Saifutinov bouncing back in style from the outside, looking good, but all credit to Lokteyev in second place. He's riding well.
Yeah, riding nicely and keeping Laguta at bay.
Yep.
Down that back straight, Laguta is running out of time here, but he's just following the line of Lokteyev. Saifutinov, normal service resumed from him. The Russian rocket, second place in blue, Lokteyev, and third was Artem Laguta. So Russia move on to 7 points now from 2 outings. Ukraine are on 4. So Russia join the USA on 7 points right now. Slovenia remain on 3, Germany on 4, Latvia on 2, and Denmark on 3. But Russia and the USA lock level at 7 points apiece at the top of the leaderboard. 5 heats gone here at the Bergring in Teterow. 2 points to the Ukraine, 4 to Russia, Saifutinov and Laguta, and it does mean that Russia and the USA are now on 7 points apiece from 2 outings. Ukraine on 4, and the other nations have only had 1 ride apiece.
Well, Russia are making hard work of it so far. A mistake by Saifutinov in his opening ride. And then Artem Laguta failing to get the better of that man, Loktaev, which I've got to say was an impressive ride. And I think that's what the Speedway of Nations is going to throw up. It's going to give opportunities like Loktaev at the highest level of racing to take some big scalps. And the scalp of Artem Laguta here in this ride is a really tasty one for him. Saifutinov out in front riding nicely, but Artem Laguta cannot find a way through into second place, and it would have been an opportunity to get the 5 points to try and stamp some authority on the meeting. As it turns out, they're level pegging with the Americans, which when you reflect on 7 points for America, that's a good start for them. But Saifutinov, all credit to him showing his class.
Up to heat number 6 we go, and I can tell you the next race is Slovenia against Germany. So Slovenia go up against Germany here in heat number 6. And the rider in blue, Matic Ivacic, has been replaced by Nick Skoja here, and Skoja has experience in the Grand Prix in his home country in Slovenia. This is the under-21 reserve, and he comes in as a replacement for Matic Ivacic. I can tell you it's Zagar off the inside, Smolinski off 2, Skoja off 3, Huckenbeck off the outside. It's Slovenia in the red and blue helmet colours, Germany are in white and yellow, and Germany have made a beauty. What a start from Smolinski, and Huckenbeck charging hard around the outside. It's Huckenbeck in white, Smolinski in yellow, Zagar is in red, and is third right now. Germany on a 5-1 as things stand. This is superb from the host nation of Event 1 of the Speedway of Nations.
Great stuff from Germany, really flew away from the tapes there, getting the better of Zagar, who was on the favoured inside gate. Got to say, Huckenbeck made a beautiful start from gate 2, looked for his teammate down the back straight, allowed Smolinski to come around the outside, and the Germans are looking good tonight. They look fast out in front. Pepe Rudolph, their manager, will be delighted with this. Well, it's looking like the first 5-1 of the night on the cards for the home team. Good stuff.
Well, they did say team riding comes to Teterow, and that's exactly what's happening here in heat number 6, because Huckenbeck and Smolinski are outpacing the world class of the Grand Prix man Zagar, a winner of the Grand Prix here in the Bergring, and that is a huge result for the home side. Germany, Martin Smolinski and Kai Huckenbeck deliver the goods over Mati Zagar for Slovenia. It's 1 point to Slovenia, 5 to Germany, and the host nation lead the meeting now on 9 points, courtesy of that big 5-1 from Smolinski and Huckenbeck in heat number 6 here in the Bergring. The result is a win for Smolinski. Second place was Kai Huckenbeck. 5 points to Germany, 1 point to Slovenia, with Mati Zagar getting third place and Nick Skoja at the back. Just to confirm the standings then, Germany do lead now on 9 points, the USA on 7, Russia on 7. A reminder, the top 2 automatically go through to the finals over 2 nights on Friday and Saturday in Wroclaw, and then we have a couple of runoffs effectively here, shootouts at the end of the night to establish a third qualifier.
Great stuff from Germany. Kai Huckenbeck does the damage going to the first corner, getting the better of the Grand Prix star Zagar, who is on the inside gate. Huckenbeck allows his teammate then around the outside, and they ride very well together here. And you've got to give Germany credit. They had speed. They pulled clear of Zagar, and I expected Zagar to really be amongst it, trying to force his way back through to the front, but it's not the case. Germany get the big 5-1. They're on 9 points. A great start for the night for the Germans, and another team that will be very keen to make the final. And here at home in Teterow, with a lot of experience, they've made a fine start.
Absolutely. As we build up to heat 7, this is Denmark against Latvia.
Yeah.
It's
well,
superb action here. We have the World Cup football coming soon, of course. Everybody's talking about that. But here we have team riding at world level in Speedway, and it is Denmark versus Latvia. Denmark in the red and blue helmet colours. Latvia are in the white and yellow helmet colours here. Across the grid, I can tell you it's Jepsen Jensen for Denmark off the inside in red. Gate 2 is Podzooks for Latvia in yellow. We're talking about the helmet colours here. Gate 3 blue is Kenneth Bier for the Danes. And then going off the outside for Latvia is the man in the white helmet colour, Andrzej Lebedev's.
Interesting scenario here. It was Latvia and Lebedev's that put paid to Denmark's chances of making the race off last year when Lebedev's beat Iversen to clinch their place in the race off. So Denmark looking for revenge here tonight. Jepsen Jensen and Bjerre must be favourite.
Yep, heat number 7, the Danes are very fast starters. Jepsen Jensen, oh, it's very nervous at the start. And they've just about got away, but I have to say the man in yellow, Podzuks, was very nervous and very edgy. But look at this down the back straight. Great ride here from Jepsen Jensen. Second place in white is Lebedev's, and Kenneth Bjerre holding the inside line for third, but under huge pressure from Latvia's Kas Podzuks. Denmark are on 4, and Latvia are on 2, but here comes Bjerre up the inside for second spot. Denmark 4, Latvia 2, as things stand right now.
Yeah, tight first corner there, Jepsen Jensen having to be very forceful to stop the run of Lebedev's going well in second place. Bjerre working hard in third, beginning to push. Podzuks just out of the picture, handy 4-2 for the Danes. They'll be looking for this, they need this, really, they need to stamp authority. Bjerre's working hard, desperately looking for a way through to get the better of Lebedev's. Jepsen Jensen looking for his teammate, but he can't do much there out in front.
Yeah, Jepsen Jensen has looked over his shoulder, but Bjerre is going to try one last swoop around the outside. Jepsen Jensen trying to slow things down. Oh, nearly punishes it himself.
Well, nearly threw it away.
Wow.
That was tight on the run to the line. Jepsen Jensen hangs on, but he was, well, very, very tight as they completed the race. May have been working a bit too hard. He nearly turned a 4-2 into a 3-all there, the Danes, but they do hang on, but it was very close and very tight indeed. They're pleased with the 4-2, but got to say that Denmark are making hard work of it at this stage, and a strong ride from Lebedev's.
Yes, Bjerre in third spot there in the end. Jepsen Jensen looking over his shoulder. This is what team riding is, and Bjerre not in contention there. Jepsen Jensen just about holds out. It's a 4-2 for the Danish side there, managed by Hans Nielsen, the legend. Hans Nielsen, great rider he was, and saw him looking at the start earlier as though he fancied getting his leathers and his helmet on again and the goggles. It really is good to see Hans here, and another former rider.
Pair of goggles, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we see it again.
Look at him looking over his shoulder,
slowing it down, but I don't think he appreciated how fast Lebedev was coming. I think he's a touch fortunate there, you know, and he could easily have thrown that away and turned a 4-2 into a 3-all. It's not the case, and as hard as he tried, Jepsen Jensen, to manipulate the result at the end of the race, it just didn't quite work for them. But they're on 7 points, and that's a decent start.
Some great team riders down the years. I mean, when I was going to Cradley every week, it was Hancock and Hamill. Wolverhampton every week was Ermolenko and Corrie. You know, Peter Collins and Chris Morton, Bellevue legends, and ironic they were World Pairs champions in '84, and we're in Bellevue, Manchester on Tuesday night as well. That world famous club, the Bellevue Aces, at the National Speedway Stadium.
Wow.
There have been some wonderful, wonderful partnerships down the years, Cal.
Yeah, there is, and in every team you'll find two guys will click and they'll get this sixth sense about riding together. I remember when I rode for Coventry, it was John Jorgensen and Ricky Miller in the engine room of the team. They did great work with many, many heat advantages. They didn't always get on very well, but they rode very well together, had a great understanding.
USA and Russia doing battle here in the Monster Energy FIM Speedway of Nations. Off the inside in blue for the USA is Gino Manzarek, and off gate 3 in red is Greg Hancock. That's the USA duo. Gate 2 in white for Russia is Artem Laguta, and Emil Sayfudinov is going off the outside in yellow. So this is Russia's third appearance, and the USA's third appearance of the night.
Indeed.
Remember tonight, the top two nations after 21 heats go through to the final to join Poland next Friday and Saturday, and then we have a race-off, two race-offs to establish who will be the third qualifying nation from tonight's action here in the Bergring in Teterow.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It'll be very interesting as the night unfolds. America going great guns. Interesting that Gino Manzarek gets the inside gate here. Hancock on gate 3. Can he do something about the Russians?
Here we go with heat number 8, and there was a rolling start from Manzarek there, but he's got away with it. He was rolling at the start all right, and now Manzarek has the lead ahead of Laguta in white here. Now Hancock is going to try the inside run. Laguta though has got loads of speed around the outside. Manzarek will leave him a little bit of room, and Laguta breezes past now. Hancock second, his fellow American Manzarek is third. And now does Hancock chase hard after Laguta? Denmark 7, Ukraine, Slovenia, Latvia, all on 4 apiece.
Well, good stuff. Got to say that Russia are beginning to make their way. They haven't managed to get a big 5-1 in the bag yet, but a 4-2. They've had 2 consecutive 4-2s after a 3-all in the opening race when Saifutinov had that moment in the first corner. Strong ride from Laguta here to get the better of Gino Manzarek. Not a lot of racing room there. Has to just keep the throttle on though down the back straight. Gino Manzarek was given the better gate here. I'm wondering whether that was wise in hindsight. They nearly pulled it off here, you know. If Gino had just had a touch more speed, they would have had a heat advantage. Got to say that Artem Laguta is a touch fortunate here. Just hits a little rut here, and the bike lifts very violently underneath him. There you see it. Great motorcycle skills from Laguta, not only to save that, but to hang on out in front with Hancock chasing him hard in second place. But another heat advantage to the Russians, and Laguta and Hancock just having a bit of a shaking of hands at the end of the race. But a bit of added excitement for Mr. Laguta in midway through the race. But yeah, it's beginning to take shape. I think we're beginning to get the hang of things, understanding that team ethic is very important and riders looking for one another. Good stuff.
Yep, and Hancock and Laguta, good to see. Talking about, clearly Artem referring to the moment he lifted there and managed to stay on the bike and maintain the lead.
Pretty calm character, Mr. Laguta, but he may have just had a bit of a flutter there as he went through that corner. And Laguta is a really tidy rider these days and seems to have matured into a real world-class performer.
Yep, so 8 heats gone. Now, the USA team manager is Lance King, a former rider, of course, of world-class level, and he is with Kiri.
Lance, USA just picked up some good points there, but Greg was riding hard.
Yeah, the boys are battling. You know, Greg's had 2 good starts, or 3 good starts actually, and you know, our bikes are just off a little bit. They're making some changes because the track's changed so much from the earlier heats, but they're right in the mix of it.
Well, Greg had some good gates as well from the boys. How are the gates riding?
They're good. You know, you saw Gino we almost had a 5-1 going, and then Gino caught up a little bit of grip, but you know what? Look how close everything is. So we're not out of it by any means. They'll make some adjustments and be better yet.
Okay, tactics not come into play yet. Decided not to swap those gates.
Yeah, you know what? It's totally up to those guys. They're talking it over and what's best for the team. We're definitely not a one-rider team. This is a team event, so they're discussing what's best for each race.
Lance King, USA captain and team manager, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good words from Lance there, and I like that he's made that clear that the riders are making the decisions, because there's no doubt that Greg Hancock sacrificed gate 1 there for Gino Manzarek, and quite possibly it could have paid off. In the end it didn't quite, but nonetheless America are going along quite nicely. They're on 9 points from 3 outings, and I've got to say that they're holding their own against the opposition.
Now, Martin Smolinski, the German hero, is with Kiri.
Martin, you won your last heat out there, but it's certainly some tough riding.
Yeah, it's quite tough out there. It's not easy. You have the very good team riding, I must say. Big thank you very much to Kai, because we had a very good team spirit. He was feeling, you know, I had the speed on the outside, and he looked about me. He leave me this like just 1 meter to just go like a best pair racing. That's the reason why we're here for, because, you know, not one guy can win it. Like 2 people have to work good together.
Okay, a few different gates for you. How have you found them?
Gates is quite a bit tough out there, like what's happening. No. Gate 3 is a little bit, you know, it's hard, you know, but gate 4 is good, 1, 2 is not too bad, so we see what goes on.
All right, thanks so much, Martin.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was a short interview for Martin. I thought we'd be here all night.
Yeah, he does like a chat. And there's no doubt that I think he had more to say. We may well hear more from him as the night goes on, because on the evidence of that last race, they could well be winning some more races. But a very good 5-1 for the Germans. They look really impressive and plenty of speed.
Razem z nami Greg Hancock, prawie maksymalna liczba punktów, ale Artyom Łaguta pokazał tutaj wielką klasę. Nearly the maximum points for you, but the points are very important. Łaguta was too fast?
Yeah, he got the better of the run there. Well, you got to give Gino some credit there. He made a good start and had the race controlled for half a lap. And, you know, he trying to cover for Artem, and I got underneath. So, you know, it's tough out there.
Oczywiście, że jest tam bardzo ciężko. Artyom wykorzystał wszystko, co mógł. Ja przez pół okrążenia chciałem kontrolować wyścig, by pomóc Gino Manzaresowi, który bardzo dobrze wystartował, no ale jest tak ciężko, że nie dojechał jednak do mety na punktowanej pozycji. Greg Hancock kończy, ma jutro urodziny, tak więc można już pomalutku składać mu życzenia. The big day tomorrow for you. I know it's maybe a little bit too early, but happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Just another day.
Dla niego to jest po prostu kolejny dzień. Oczywiście dziękuję bardzo, a dla wszystkich, którzy mają w tym dniu, co wielki mistrz świata urodziny, oczywiście również najlepsze życzenia. Tyle Greg Hancock, któremu dziękuję bardzo. Dzięki.
Dzięki bardzo. Na razie.
Wow, that was a long-winded Polish version of Happy Birthday, Greg.
Yeah, it's obviously not quite the same in Polish, is it? Happy birthday. They need about a paragraph to get to it. But happy birthday to Greg for tomorrow. He'll be 48 years young.
Caught me up.
He has, and there's no doubt there seems to be plenty of fire in the belly still. Riding really nicely after a really nasty shoulder injury last season.
Same age. He's on the track and I'm in the commentary box.
Yeah, I'm not going there, Nige. Not going there.
He's a bit fitter than me, isn't he?
Only marginally. Only marginally.
You're being kind, Calvin.
I am. I saw you huffing and puffing coming up the stairs
earlier
today.
Yeah. Gino Manzares and Greg Hancock talking there with Lance King, the team manager. Decent crowd tonight as well. It's fair to say that it's never going to be as big as a Grand Prix crowd here at the Bergring, which is always a sellout, thousands and thousands. But a decent amount of people that have made the effort to be here tonight.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not the most affluent part of Germany, and they had a big meeting here 2 weeks ago on the grass track and a Speedway meeting. So they've got a Grand Prix coming here later in the season as well. So not easy always to attend all the big races because they aren't. They can be, you know, a little bit more expensive to attend. But as you rightly say, there are people through all the way around, and it is a big open arena, so it can be deceptive how many people there. Zagar waiting patiently for Slovenia. It'll be interesting to see who partners them here this time. Is it Ivicic or Skorja? I think it's Ivicic back in this time. The under-21 has had one run, but he's now been swapped for Ivicic for the upcoming heat. Zagar, a touch disappointing last time, got out-battled. And he'll want to do better than that. He has great memories of Teterow. He really did turn on the style here last year in the Grand Prix. Very different conditions, of course, because it was very wet that night and grippy. And Zagar adapted to those conditions very well. But here's Karpov. Karpov has been touchy and nervous on the start so far tonight, Nigel, and he needs to settle down a touch, doesn't he?
Very much so, yeah. I do recall the Grand Prix last September. It stopped raining just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
If it had carried on raining any longer, we'd have been in trouble.
Absolutely.
For that Grand Prix. But anyway, here we go. Heat number 9. And a big race for Ukraine. They need to behave themselves at the start and give themselves at least a chance. Here we go. Here we go with heat number 9 then at the Monster Energy FIM Speedway of Nations, event 1 here in the Bergring in Teterow, Germany, where it's Russia who have the early advantage on 11 points. This race is Slovenia against Ukraine. Slovenia in the red and blue helmet colours, and the Ukraine will be in white and yellow helmet colours. Mati Zagar goes off the inside in red for Slovenia. Gate 2 in white is the slightly impatient Andrei Karpov, who needs to behave himself at the start. Gate 3 in blue for Slovenia, Matic Ivicic. And going off the outside in yellow is Alexander Lokteev for Ukraine.
Interesting lineup this, because both these teams are outsiders, there's no doubt about that. There's one standout rider, the Grand Prix rider is Zagar. He's on the inside gate. Got to be a potential winner here. So Ukraine, if they can't hit the front, or ideally they want to, They then need to battle hard to make sure they get a 3-all to try and square the race. Interesting times.
Yep, here we go with heat number 9 then. The green line is on. And Matty Zagar's made a decent start off the inside gate here. He's got the advantage early on, but the Ukraine are packing the minor placings. Zagar has the lead. He looks over his shoulder, but he'll realise his partner Ivacic is well and truly at the back. Second place here in white is Andrei Karpov, and Loftaev for the Ukraine is third. As things stand then, it's a 3-all right now, but the Ukraine have second and third, which can prove advantageous if they get a chance later on to challenge for a real run-off situation.
Absolutely, and this is how it's panned out. Second and third are important for the Ukraine. Zagar, of course, he is the standout rider, and it's proving to be. The inside gate worked nicely after the track grade. Zagar is bouncing back, looking very silky smooth out in front. As I say, Ukraine Karpov this time was more disciplined, wasn't quite so much in a hurry, and he waited for the tapes to go up.
Yep, so Zagar is going to take the checkered flag. It's a share of the spoils. Two outsiders here, Slovenia and Ukraine, and that's how it's proved to be. As Kelvin predicted, it's a 3 apiece in heat number 9. 3 points to the Ukraine, 3 points to Slovenia, 7 points apiece now for those two nations who really are outsiders. But of course, a reminder tonight, the top 2 nations go through to the final in Poland next weekend. Then we have 2 runoffs to decide, and they are knockout runoffs to decide the third nation to go through to Wrocław in Poland. The final of this tournament, pairs racing. It's the Speedway of Nations. The final will be over 2 nights, next Friday and Saturday in Wrocław. And a reminder, event 2, including the British side with Ty Woffen and Craig Cook and Robert Lambert, is in Manchester on Tuesday. Get along there if you can.
Yeah, looking forward to it very much. We see Zagar making light work of this race, really. He has a look for his teammate out of the first corner, but he's not there. He knows he's on his own out in front. He's just got to put his head down and win the race as comfortably as he can. Karpov there working hard. His teammate Shane Gard's falling off at the same time as well. Bits and pieces flying everywhere for a moment. But Zagar is an elegant rider. He, when he's in full flow, he is a smashing rider to watch. And as much as he wanted his teammate to be with him, it wasn't to be. And Zagar, after third place last time, picks up 3 points. It's going to be tough for the Slovenians, but they'll do their very best. But Germany are out again, and Germany are the only team to have got a 5-1 on the board so far. Can they replicate it once again here, Nige?
Top 2 go through straight to the final next Friday and Saturday, and Russia and Germany are looking good at the moment. But this is an important race because Denmark will be strongly fancied as well. It's Germany here in the red and blue helmet colours, and it will be Denmark in the white and yellow helmet colours. Off the inside in red is Kai Hülkenberg for the Germans. Gate 2 in white for the Danes is Michael Jepsen-Jensen. Gate 3 blue is Martin Smolinski for Germany, and Kenneth Bier for Denmark is going off the outside. Quite an important race, this one, Kel.
Yeah, this is quite a clash, you know. Germany will be full of confidence after the last race. 5-1 to their name, and their last outing, rather. And they've got gates 1 and 3, so Denmark needs to really dig in here. One of the pre-meeting favourites, Denmark. Big race, this one.
Yep, heat number 10. Away we go. And it's a super start from Hülkenberg off the inside gate. Jepsen-Jensen is there. Bier's going around the outside. Smolinski! Martin Smolinski up the inside for Germany. Here comes Jepsen-Jensen. Oh, he's going to take out Hülkenberg wide towards the fence. Great ride from Jepsen-Jensen. Super stuff, and Bier's come through. 4-2 Denmark. They were on a 1-5 and now they're on a 4-2. But you can be sure that Hülkenberg will push Bier hard up the inside into turn 3.
Brilliant stuff. This is action-packed race of the night so far. Jepsen-Jensen very forceful on the opening lap to get a better of the Germans. Smolinski's now back into second place, and Bier, after a real tussle with Kai Hülkenberg, is now into third place. 4-2 to the Danish team, showing real result here in heat number 10. Jepsen-Jensen really meant business on that opening lap.
Well, Jepsen-Jensen is looking over his shoulder now, but nothing to do with teamwork here, because he really had to work hard for the victory. Down to the line as well, to the line. It's a 4-2 to Denmark.
Yeah.
That is a good result for the Danes.
Yes.
Jepsen-Jensen really worked hard there. It was tough, uncompromising, and Bier did his bit. There was no cohesion in terms of teamwork there, but Denmark did the job with two individuals showing what good riders they are.
Yeah, they really dug in, and the reaction from the management team at the bottom of the ramp, delight there, because they really needed to work hard to get the better of the Germans.
4-2 to Denmark. Jepsen Jensen first, Smolinski second, Bier third. 4-2 to the Danes. That moves them on to 11 points now, Denmark, with Germany and Russia. Three nations on 11 points apiece. Remember, only the top two automatically go through, and then in heats 22 and 23, we have race-offs on a knockout basis to decide who goes through. Fourth v fifth in heat 22. The third place team goes straight through to heat 23. They will meet the winners of heat 22, and then the winners of that heat 23 will join the top two in the final.
Great stuff here from Jepsen Jensen down the back straight. Steams underneath Kai Hülkenberg, who charges out. Kai Hülkenberg then gets relegated to the back. That really was a very strong move from Jepsen Jensen. Kenneth Bier then momentarily overtaken by Hülkenberg, but he can't hang on to it, the German, and Bier read it beautifully. Comes back into a very important third place as they pick up the big 4-2. Here we see it earlier on in the race. This was a tough race, a tough move from the Danes, really fighting hard for the big points here, and Jepsen Jensen comes up with a really super ride to pick up 3 points. His teammate back in third, 4 points to the Danes, and they needed it.
No Niels Christian Iversen or Nicky Pedersen in the Danish side. Pedersen, of course, 3 times world champion. Niels Christian Iversen out, having recovery time from a shoulder operation in Barcelona on Monday. And heat number 11 is Latvia in the red and blue helmet colours against the USA in the white and yellow. Off the inside in red is Andrei Lebedevs for Latvia. Gate 2 in white is Greg Hancock, the legend, for the USA. Birthday boy tomorrow. Gate 3 blue, Kaspar Zooks for Latvia. And going off the outside is Gino Manzarek for the USA. Big race coming up here.
Yeah.
Heat number 11. The USA are on 9 points from 3 rides. They could do with a heat advantage here, but they're off gates 2 and 4. And they are depending big time on Greg Hancock of gate number 2. And Hancock has made a decent start off gate number 2. He's got the drop now. Can Manzarek get around the outside? Gino Manzarek, oh, he's just locked up. And to be fair, Podzooks looked over his shoulder and spotted him as well. It's a 3-all as things stand, but the Latvians have second and third, which we remind you can be advantageous. Gino won't give up though at the back for the USA, putting a bit of pressure on Kaspar Zooks here. Down the back straight they go.
Yeah, but this is good for America as well, Nige, because certainly the 3-all, they're looking good, they're hanging in there. Gino Manzarek just a little bit outclassed at this level, you've got to believe. Hancock making light work of it out in front. Lebedev's giving chase. Podzooks just tailed off in third place. 3-all good for both teams, I believe. And with a lap to go, once again, Greg Hancock looking really smooth out in front. Good ride from him.
Yeah, he's making it look easy. He's going to move on to 11 points from 4 rides for the USA. Greg Hancock making it look simple. Looks over his shoulder, but again he can see his teammate and partner Gino Manzarek is at the back. So second for Lebedevs, third for Podzooks. It's a 3-all there. USA now, they are winning races courtesy of Greg, but they are on to 12 points. Latvia get 3 there, they move on to 7. So USA are in the mix. They might just sneak something in one of the knockout phases here. They're not going to go through in the top 2, I think it's fair to say, but they're in contention for one of the knockout heats late on to establish who goes to Poland as the third qualifying nation from tonight. Now, 12 points for the USA, 1 ahead of 3 nations who have a race in hand of them.
Absolutely, but the other nations have a race in hand. But United States, you're right, they will have a chance with race-offs going down in heat 22, of course, to the 4th and 5th nations. So time will tell whether USA make that. But on the evidence of this, and with such a quality rider like Greg Hancock, who makes this race look very straightforward, he won very comfortably. Just can't quite get Gino Manzarek in the points as well, but Hancock's bike working really well because he had quite a fight there to get to the first corner to get the better of Lebedevs. And when you get down to those sudden death races at the end of the night, having a rider of Hancock's quality could prove to be very decisive. Be interesting to see how it works out, but The Americans hanging on there with 12 points.
Yep, a reminder, we go to the UK on Tuesday night at the National Speedway Stadium in Manchester, where Great Britain will be in action. Australia will be in action as well at the home of the Bellevue Aces, and Ty Woffenden making a rare appearance on British Shale on Tuesday night alongside Craig Cook, who rides a Bellevue of course, and Robert Lambert, who our British viewers will have seen in action on Monday night for Kings Lynn at Rye House, scoring 17 points. He's the under-21 reserve for Great Britain. Tickets remain on sale for the Monster Energy FIM Speedway of Nations in Manchester at Bellevue on Tuesday evening. That is going to be some night at one of the world's greatest tracks, which is what this National Speedway Stadium is.
Brilliant.
There's no
track.
question there.
Absolutely. Got to agree, we've seen some fabulous racing there already, and it was an outstanding World Cup a couple of years ago. Really looking forward to Tuesday and seeing how we get on. Big race again here as well, with the Germans out again. They haven't had much time to reflect on their tussle with the Danes. Just a couple of races ago, they've got Ukraine and Karpov and Loktaev going off gates 1 and 3 here, with Germany going off 2 and 4. But Germany are battling hard, and you've got to believe they're going to be in the mix tonight.
Yes, and here we see heat number 12, Ukraine against Germany. By the way, on Tuesday in Manchester at 7 o'clock, you can add Sweden with Freddie Lindgren. And a little bit of a ding-dong expected between him and Ty Woffenden after they're coming together in Prague last weekend. They will go head-to-head in Manchester. Czech Republic, great to see France as well. And they've got David Belego and Dimitri Berge for France on Tuesday night. That's going to be great to see. Australia, Italy and Finland.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to see riders that ordinarily wouldn't be able to be in this level of competition, and Belego and Berger are two riders that on the big track in Manchester will pull a few surprises.
Well, we saw Belego ride well for Swindon at Bellevue live on TV.
Absolutely.
Should be good.
Sure.
Heat number 12. It's the Ukraine in the red and blue helmet colours. Germany, the host nation, are in the white and yellow. And what a start that is from Loktaev for the Ukraine side. But here comes Germany now. Loktaev goes wide. Doesn't allow any room whatsoever for Martin Smolinski, who's at the back now. The lead is with Kai Hülkenberg. Smolinski now is going to have to work hard to split the Ukrainian duo here now. Smolinski is the man in yellow. Watch him go for Germany. He's marooned at the back. The lead is with Hülkenberg, but Smolinski has lost ground there. It's a 3-all as things stand.
It is indeed, and as hard as Smolinski tried, he couldn't get round the outside. Team riding there from Ukraine, they really made it hard work. Now Smolinski chopping back to the inside. Smolinski pushing hard.
Not enough.
Very nearly getting the better of Loktaev. Now up the inside. Really tight. Smolinski pushing so very hard, desperate to get that third place into the last lap. Smolinski's just about got there. One big blast from Loktaev around the outside. Not going to do it. Brilliant ride from Smolinski.
Yeah, really had to work hard there. Smolly for Germany. Seen in the UK with Coventry and Birmingham down the years. And he's a popular character wherever he goes. And has just pulled off a third place, which was important there. Kai Hülkenberg of Germany, who rode in the UK for Kings Lynn Stars last year. It's a win for Hülkenberg. A real battle. 4 points to Germany there. Just what the doctor ordered for Germany on that occasion. They move on to 15 big points now and are looking good.
Absolutely they are, and I've got to say that they battled very hard there, and that point that Smolinski got there was absolutely vital in the context of the overall result. Really good effort from Germany.
Germany on 15, they lead the meeting. USA are on 12, but watch out for Russia and Denmark just behind them with a race in hand on 11 apiece.
We'll watch it again. Kai Hülkenberg riding well. He has matured as a rider in recent seasons, and I've got to say, riding here tonight, he has proved to be a terrific pick for his country. We're watching Karpov there. Alexander Karpov on the inside. Oh, he snakes violently away from the tapes, and that puts pay to his chances. Got to say, that was a dreadful start from Karpov. Tough first corner there from Loktaev. He really did leave Smolinski with very little racing room at all in that opening lap, but credit to Smolinski here. He battles hard and he gets the better of Loktaev later on in the race, round the inside, and that's a vital third place and a 4 points collectively for the Germans after a 5-1 earlier on, moving on to 15 championship points. got to say that they really do mean business, and they must have a good chance of being in the top two and going to Wrocław. Kai Huckenbeck looks really impressive this evening.
Yes, 12 heats gone here at the Bergring in Teterow. And Germany on 15. Could get tight for second spot. And then we have the knockout heats.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't be surprised at all, Nigel, that we have a countback scenario this evening. You know, teams are dropping points, nicking points off one another, so it will have plenty of interest well after 21 races. We need 14 heats. I read actually the regulations earlier on, Nigel, we do need 14 races to get a result, so if we did have a downpour...
Well, you were looking at thunderstorms when you looked at that, didn't you?
Well, I was, and it was a forecast. We've been very fortunate. They haven't arrived. Just a moment for people to relax, because track grading and a pause between 12 and 13. And we've got the Russians coming up against Latvia in heat 13. That could be quite a tussle. Those boys will know each other very well. And an interesting night. And some good performances from riders. Look at Hancock on 11, Huckenbeck on 8, Jepsen Jensen on 7, Lebedev's 4. One or two boys. Manzera is struggling a little bit for America. If they could get him going to support Hancock a little bit more, and who knows, then America could well be in the mix to try and sneak into the finals at the end of next week in Wrocław, which will be a fabulous venue for the two-day final.
Yep, great stuff. We're up to heat number 13 when we resume the action. It'll be Russia against Latvia. Pleasant evening now here in northern Germany with the sun shining. Quite warm evening now as well. Very
lovely,
humid.
actually.
Yeah, very pleasant. Now, Mati Zegar of Slovenia. Let's hear from him now with Kiri.
Okay, Matty, you won your last heat. How are you finding riding in pairs?
Well, it's something new, definitely, but I think it's good competition, much better than World Team Cup, because obviously for Slovenia especially we don't have enough quality riders, but you know, we can always find 2 or 3, so thumbs up for this competition. I think it's only, unfortunately, it's organized on this track, because this track is only about starts, so maybe for future, I know, don't get me wrong, I like this track, but it's not very raceable track, so in future, you know, maybe pick up tracks that is more raceable, and I think it's going to make it even more exciting.
Okay, well, talking about those starts, your gates have varied. So which gates have you found better?
I know it's, I missed practice, unfortunately, because my plane got cancelled, so I arrived only 2 hours before the meeting. We changed setup a bit. It's better now, but, you know, we still kind of don't know if it's perfect. So, of course, start is very important, and we try to do our best. We see what we get, but we're going to try our best, definitely.
All right, thanks, Matty.
No worries.
Good to hear from him. We don't always hear from Zegar, but unfortunately he wasn't able to get here for practice. But the conditions are very different from the Grand Prix last year, and it was much grippier, much cooler, and he came out on top. But this track tonight is proving to be quite a challenge to overtake. So it'll be interesting to see if riders can tweak their kit just to get a little bit more. It's quite flat. The banking is very subtle here, so it's not easy to get around the outside, and with not too much grip on the track, then overtaking, particularly on the outside run, is proving to be very difficult. Only 1 or 2 moves have been fortuitous by going around the outside.
Razem z nami Michael Jepsen Jensen, który w ostatnim swoim wyścigu świetnie pojechał, otworzył bramę dla Kenneta Bierer. That was fantastic speedway, actually. You opened the gate for Kenneth, nearly took a 5-1.
Yeah, we got to have a look for each other. I feel quite comfortable, and I'm looking back quite a lot also for Kenneth. Thing is, we just got to make more than 3-3 every meet or every heat, or 3-3 at least, to catch up as many points as possible. So yeah, we got to have an eye for each other.
Musimy trzymać oczy za sobą, patrzeć na siebie. Ja zawsze oglądam się, gdzie jest Kenneth. Tak po prostu trzeba jechać. Chcemy zdobywać w wyścigach minimum 3 punkty albo więcej tych punktów. Udało się to teraz i mam nadzieję, że tak będzie potem. Czy jest już tak dopasowany, że czuje się na tym torze wyśmienicie? You think your setup is perfect for that track at the moment?
I don't know if it's perfect, but feels good, and yeah, that's how it is.
Nie wiem, czy jest doskonałe, ale czuję się, że jest dobre i tak po prostu jest. Tyle. Michael Jepsen-Jensen, dziękuję bardzo. Tak, tak.
Dziękuję.
Well, it was a spectacular ride from Jepsen Jensen last time out, and got to say that he did have to work hard to get the better of the opposition, and that allowed Bjerre through, and Denmark, after a steady start, are well and truly in the mix.
Now we can hear from Michael again, this time with Kiri.
Michael, 11 points for Denmark. You've won a couple of heats. Enjoying it out there?
Yeah, for sure. It's a great tournament, so feels good.
And enjoying riding in the pairs with Kenneth?
Yeah, for sure as well. I'm having a look for him as well, and I can see here that we have like contact on the track, trying to help each other out, having a look for each other in the first corner. So that's what it is about.
Well, after your last heat, it seemed like your team managers were quite happy with that performance.
This should be.
All right, congratulations, Michael. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Well, he's got quite a taskmaster in lots of ways, because Mr. Nielsen was reasonably successful at World Championship level. So
reasonably?
Yeah, well, he won one or two along the way, didn't he? So, but Denmark have just struggled a little bit in recent years. So Michael Jepsen-Jensen and Kenneth Bjerre, the whole team will be very keen to make the finals. They don't want the embarrassment of missing out. So work still to be done for Denmark on 11 points, but they're heading in the right direction. We see it now, Nige.
Yep, Germany on 15 with USA on 12, very much in the mix, but Russia, Denmark, they're waiting to pounce. They're on 11 points each and they have a race in hand.
Yep.
And that's significant.
It is, it's significant, and Russia and Denmark would have been two of the pre-meeting favourites to go through as 1 and 2 tonight and go straight to the final. So wouldn't be a surprise to see them leapfrog up the table, but I've got to say that Germany are riding well. No real surprise here at home, but there seems to be great continuity in that team, good understanding between the riders, so keep an eye out for the Germans as the night goes on.
Yep, Russia and Latvia going head-to-head here. Heat number 13, Laguta and Saifudinov up against Lebedevs and Podzuks for Latvia. Heat number 13 it is then. And Russia strongly fancied pre-meeting here, but they've been a little bit inconsistent. They haven't dominated,
no,
and they perhaps have some concerns here over Lebedevs and Podzuks, who we know on their day are more than capable of springing a surprise or two. Heat 13 is next. Here we go with Heat 13 at the Bergring in Teterow then, and it is Russia in red and blue against Latvia in the white and yellow helmet colours. Artem Laguta is off the inside gate in red for Russia. Gate 2 in yellow is Kats Podzuks for Latvia. Gate 3 in blue is Emil Saifudinov for Russia, and going off the outside in white is Ante Lebedevs for the Latvians. As things stand right now, Latvia are on 7 points, Russia are on 11. The leaders of the meeting, Germany, are on 15, but Russia strongly fancied. A reminder, the top two straight through to the final. Poland are already there as the host nation. Wroclaw over 2 nights next Friday and Saturday. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
When the competition, I'm sure, will really come alive. Well, it'll come alive in Manchester on Tuesday as well, I'm sure.
Well, we hope so.
Rare opportunity for British fans to get along and see Ty Woofenden on home shale, the twice world champion for Great Britain on Tuesday evening in Manchester. But yeah, next Friday and Saturday in Wroclaw is really going to be a terrific 2 occasions. Heat 13 it is then. Can Russia do it here from heat number 13, or will Latvia prove to be the spoilers? Heat 13, Christina Turnbull with a finger on the button and run away first time. And it's Artem Laguta off the inside gate. And now Saifudinov is going to have to chase hard after Kats Podzuks. Lebedevs is the man stranded at the back, but it's a 4-2 to Russia as things stand.
Whoa.
And Saifudinov squared up there, just lost it momentarily. 4-2, Russia have it in the bag at the moment with 3 laps to go.
Yep, Artem Laguta off that inside gate. That's proving to be quite a starting position. Saifudinov now trying the outside run, again overlocking, and that has left himself vulnerable, with Lebedevs now beginning to make a move, who was dropped in the first corner. Not a lot to choose between second, third and fourth. Got to say Laguta's impressive out in front. Sayfutinov working really hard. They very much want to get this 5-1. 4-2's okay. Podzuks in second place. Sayfutinov working hard in third place.
He's got to try the outside run, hasn't he?
Well, difficult to go around the outside, Nige. Not enough grip there.
Well, that's why you're the ex-rider and I'm not. I haven't got a clue what I'm talking about when it comes to speedway lines, but Sayfutinov tries the inside run. And it looks as though Podzuks has just about held out there.
Yeah, by half a bike. Yeah, Nige, it just isn't quite grippy enough to do the blast around the outside, and with limited banking, it just makes it too far to go. Shortest way is the fastest way right now. Laguta made it, got there, stayed on the inside, won comfortably.
To be fair, that puts them on to 15 points, Russia. 10 of them have been scored by Laguta, 5 from Emil. So it is 4 points to 2 in favour of the Russians. Laguta the winner, Podzuks was second there for Latvia. And this is how it stands. Russia joined Germany at the top of the leaderboard on 15 points. If it stayed like that, Russia and Germany will go straight through to Poland for the final over 2 nights next Friday and Saturday. And then we would have a straight shootout between 4th and 5th to join the third place team in a last heat shootout in heat 23.
Not easy to get to the front here. 4 abreast there. Lebedev's on the outside there, really does lose an immense amount of ground on the outside. Look how detached he is at that very early stage. Laguta on the inside, Gate runs on the inside and is able to hang on. Look at that again from Sayfutinov. That really is quite wild. And he is finding conditions awkward tonight. It's slippery, it's greasy, and once or twice he looks like he could well have got off the bike. As hard as he tries, can't quite get the better of Podzuks in second place. Lebedev's out the back. It's a handy 4-2, but Russia can't quite nail one of those 5-1s. But Artem Laguta is worth his weight in gold for Russia tonight so far.
He is indeed. 15 points apiece at the top of the leaderboard for Russia and Germany. Heat 14 should be a belter. It's Denmark against Slovenia. Denmark in the red and blue helmet colours, Slovenia in the white and yellow. Denmark are on 11 points right now, Slovenia are on 7, and with Germany and Russia now on 15 points apiece, Kelvin, I would suggest Denmark on 11. If they want to go through automatically, they need a good result in this one.
Minimum 4-2, and Zagar's not an easy man to beat. A 5-1, of course, would be fabulous. Potentially have the better gate positions on 1 and 3. But Zagar, well, he's just beginning to figure things out here tonight. Isn't in love with conditions, but he's a class act. And if he hits the front, I think that Denmark will find it difficult to peg him back.
Jepsen Jensen off the inside for Denmark. Zagar off 2 for Slovenia. Bier off 3 for Denmark. And Skoyer, the reserve under 21, has come in for Ivacic here in the yellow helmet colour. This is heat 14. Great start from Zagar off gate 2, the Slovenian, and he's got the drop as well. Denmark on a 3-all as things stand at the moment. The lead is with Matti Zagar. Second place is Kenneth Bier. Third is Michael Jepsen Jensen. And the Slovenian reserve, Nick Skoyer, is at the back right now. 3 points here would put the Danes on 14, would still keep them very much in contention for automatic qualification by finishing in the top 2 tonight. But if they do miss out, they will still have a chance in a knockout race-off.
Absolutely right, but what a start that was from Zagar gate 2. Denmark packing the minor places, 2nd and 3rd, that's useful, but they would have been looking for more. Pierre looks really quite competitive in 2nd place. Jepsen Jensen has been jocked. The under-21 rider scores her out the back, but Zagar once again looking really classy out in front. No practice for him, but he knows the fastest way round here. He's got this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a win for Matti Zagar, but it's going to be 2nd and 3rd for Denmark. Could work in their favour when it comes to countback if necessary for the closing stages of the meeting. But it's a win for Matti Zagar. 2nd place, Kenneth Bier for Denmark. 3rd was Michael Jepsen Jensen. And a 3 apiece is the outcome of that one, which means Slovenia now move on to 10 points. Denmark move on to 14. And Denmark are a point behind Germany and Russia, who are the top 2 at the moment. USA are on 12, Ukraine on 11. So there is a pattern very much emerging here. Zagar the winner, but Denmark packed the minor placings for a 3 apiece. And let's look at the overall standings now after 14 heats. Look how close it's getting. Russia and Germany, if it stays like this, they will go to Poland. Then it would mean that Denmark would go straight through to heat 23, and then it would be a shootout between the USA and Slovenia, the winners of which would go through to face Denmark for the final place in Wroclaw on Friday and Saturday. That's how it works.
Plenty of racing to come, and Zagar does the business here, and I think Denmark will be disappointed not to have got a heat advantage. Quite possibly would have been looking for as a minimum a 4-2, but third place is okay overall. But a 3-all here, as hard as Kenneth Pierre tries, he just cannot get the better of Zagar, who rides a faultless race out in front. Zagar's keeping his team in this, and potentially they will have some work to do later on in the night if he can keep winning races. Zagar looking really good. Cool looking style, good on the bike, comfortably wins as he comes out of the last corner. Yeah, tried really hard back in second place.
He did indeed. Mati Zagar, an impressive winner. Expected to be the best rider in the Slovenian side, and so it's proved to be. With all his Grand Prix experience, comfortably indeed.
Yeah.
Heat 15 is the USA against Germany. USA are in the red and blue helmet colours, and Germany are in the white and yellow. It's Greg Hancock for the USA off gate 1 in red. Gate 2 in yellow is Martin Smolinski for Germany. Gate 3 in blue is Gino Manzarez for the USA. And Kai Hülkenberg, who's ridden nicely tonight, he's off the outside in white. This man, the legend, the 4-time champion of the world, Greg Hancock, is the leading light for the USA, as we would have expected.
Absolutely, and Greg is riding well. He loves riding for the Stars and Stripes, there's no question about that. And he's doing once again on that inside gate. Can he get the better of the Germans here?
Yep, very, very patriotic Greg Hancock, and he's got that advantage. It's a good start, the red lights are on straight away.
Yeah, I think he got a roller.
Well, red lights on. Christina Turnbull has called it back here.
I think he got a roller there, Nige. There was movement from Manzarez again, but keep your eyes on Hancock.
Greg has a nibble, I think.
Yeah,
there you
goes
go.
a little early, and I thought he just got away with it, but not for long. Red lights come on fairly quickly.
Well, I think if Greg keeps winning races here, Kelv, USA will be in at least one of the run-offs, one of the knockout races.
Yeah, they'll be a 4th or 5th at the very minimum. And warning for Greg Hancock and on the inside, but they do need him to keep winning races, because Manzarez is finding the competition red hot. That man, of course, he understands what is required. Starting has been a little bit of a problem for him this season. We saw in Prague in the Grand Prix a week or so ago that he, on conditions I would have fancied him to make good starts, he didn't quite manage to do so. So maybe some work going on there, but just a little impatient that time for the old master.
Yep, it is the reintroduction of pairs racing at world level this year. And the old World Pairs final, Kelvin, who had experience of that yourself.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed them. I was a youngster riding in Rybnik many moons ago with Kenny Carter, and we managed to get the silver medal that night, and it was a fantastic night of racing. And I've got to say, I think it's something that's been missing from the calendar for a while. I think already on the evidence of tonight, we are beginning to see, like the Germans, you know, they don't ride in the Grand Prix, but they're doing very well tonight, and it puts a spotlight on a nation that ordinarily might not get it.
Yes, Greg Hancock rode in a World Pairs final back in the early 90s, in his early European career. I recall Sam Ermolenko, Ronnie Corrie and Greg Hancock back in the early 1990s, and I haven't Googled it, I can't remember the year, but I would guess around 1992, there or thereabouts, USA won the World Pairs with those guys, Ermolenko, Corrie, and a very, very young Greg Hancock.
Yep, and still rides like a youngster. He might be 48 tomorrow, but crikey, he still rides like a teenager.
Absolutely, Heat 15. And that was amazing back in the day, because it was Hancock of Cradley and Ermolenko of Corrie of Wolves. Those two clubs, that rivalry, but as USA riders, it brought them together. Fabulous. Teamwork at its best. Heat 15, here we go. And that's a good start from Smolinski. He's got the drop on Hancock. This could be a blow to the USA, particularly if the man in white, Kai Hülkenberg, comes around the outside. Now a bit of team riding from the Germans needed. Hancock tries the inside run up the inside, really putting the squeeze on the Germans, but this is Smolinski in the yellow helmet, Hülkenberg in white, and Smolinski slows down, and Hülkenberg looks over his shoulder. Team riding needed here, big time, with Hancock all over them.
Great start from the Germans, brilliant start from Smolinski to get the better of Hancock. Hancock is working overtime in third place. Kai Hülkenberg looking for his teammate, working well together, the Germans. Oh! Brilliant move from Hancock, switches up the inside, gets the better of Smolinski. Class move from Hancock, that.
Wow, who says Greg does all his work from the start? That was a clever move, a clever switch, and Hancock is going to split the Germans, and those 2 points could be vital for the USA, but it's a big 4 points for Germany. Huge 4 points for Germany there in heat number 15. Drama here at the Bergring in Teterow, and some good speedway in the mix there. And, well, Smolinski and Hancock having a real ding-dong. Good stuff in heat 15.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Got to say, the move from Hancock was fabulous. Switched to the inside, split second decision down the back straight. Got the better of Smolinski, but Germany are in it still. 4 points is very useful. And once again, they're moving on to 19 championship points. Good stuff.
Germany looking good to go straight through. As Kelvin said, they don't ride in the Grand Prix, Smolinski or Hülkenberg, but they could be on the verge of an appearance as straight qualifiers into Wrocław and the Speedway of Nations finals over 2 nights, next Friday and Saturday.
Great start from Smolinski. This is second time of asking, and got to say that Hancock's bike doesn't drive as well as he would have liked there. It just spun up a little bit. Smolinski gets there, allows his teammate, looking for him, needing him to come around the outside. He does. Late on in the race, Hancock makes that great move up the inside and takes Smolinski by surprise. Big move that was from Greg. It really was quite forceful, but he pulls it off. Here you see it. Switches to the inside, allows the bike to steam underneath him, and a great move to get the better of Smolinski, who at the very early stages was leading the race. Kai Hülkenberg, great out in front. He's delighted with that, and good action for second and third.
Yeah, it's getting tense, and Germany lead this event 1. Here, Race Off 1 is the correct title of the event. Race Off 1 here at the Bergring Arena in Teterow, Germany. Northern Germany is where we're at, and heat number 16 is coming up here, and it is Latvia against the Ukraine. Now Latvia on 9 points, Ukraine on 11. I think it's fair to say these two nations are staring down the barrel right now.
They are indeed. They're going to have to pick up 5 points. One of these teams, if they get a 5-1, then they give themselves half a chance. And this is the sort of race where potentially it might happen. And Lebedevs and Podzuks must have half a chance here. On previous form, certainly last year's form, got to believe that Latvia have got a chance of getting a 5-1 here and put some pressure on some of the teams just above them. So they don't want to throw the towel in here. They've got gates 1 and 3, Nigel. And if they could pick up 5 points, that would be a huge boost for them.
Would indeed. Heat number 16, Latvia are off gates 1 and 3. The man in blue is Podzuks, red is Lebedevs. But as things stand, it's a super start from the Ukraine, and that is Andrei Karpov who has the lead right now. Latvia struggling here, coming through into second is Podzuks. But what about this Loktev for the Ukraine? Really working hard here. Ukraine have a 4-2 as things stand, but now Latvia are going to really battle hard with the man on the inside, Lebedevs, who's come through.
He has indeed. Podzuks putting play to Loktev there. Karpov out in front. Oh, there we go, at the back again. Lebedev's coming under a lot of pressure. Look at this! Crikey, how tight was that? As they go into the first corner, Lebedev's back up the inside, gets the better of the Loktev. Good speedway again. Out in front, Karpov, he's out of it. The fireworks are going on behind him. Good racing there.
Yeah, good racing indeed, but this is a very impressive ride from Karpov for the Ukraines, the man who rides in the Polish league quite regularly, but then down into the final stages of this one. Watch out for the man in yellow, Loktev, but he's gone too wide. It's a 3-all, 3 apiece.
Yep.
In heat number 16.
Overexcited again.
I'm going to say, what was that noise?
Yeah, nothing for nothing. I just got completely confused. Couldn't see the rider coming out of turn 4. they swapped places as they went over the line. Podzuks eased up and allowed Lebedev through, just swapping over.
What's going on?
Yeah, too much. Good speedway there, though. And at one stage, as they went into turn 1, about 2/3 of the way through the race, you really could have thrown a blanket over all 3 riders. But no, again, tactics coming to play.
Ukraine on 14 now.
Yeah, decent
This
return.
is how it stands. Reminder, top 2 go through. That's Germany and Russia at the moment. Then the third place team go to heat 23 race off. And then 4 and 5 nations 4 and 5, they have another chance in heat 22.
Yeah, of course, Russia and Denmark have a race in hand with the teams around them, so they are potentially in an artificial position. They could leapfrog 1 or 2 teams. Good racing here. Karpov out in front. A bit nervy early on, but some quite forceful riding going on for second and third here with certainly there's no doubt Podzooks doesn't mind putting himself about. Lebedevs was out the back. Then Lebedevs gets up the inside because Lokteyev had some problems there with Podzooks. Podzooks was quite savvy there. Street-wise riding there from Podzooks. And then Lokteyev coming back. Look how tight that was. That really was very competitive there for third place. But unfortunately for the Ukraine, they lose out. And it's Lebedevs actually who comes through. That's why I got overexcited. I thought Lebedevs was, or Podzooks was having some problems. But they just swapped over as they finished the race. So a 3-all. And these nations that potentially are the outsiders for the World Cup, the World Final with the Speedway of Nations in Wroclaw, they're still giving a very good account of themselves, and I'm sure they're enjoying the experience of riding at the highest level. And yeah, he's pleased. He's having a good go. He had a nervy start, but he rode well then.
Yep, certainly did. And we've had 16 of the 21 qualifying heats here. So going well so far for Germany, the host nation, leading on 19. But yeah, as Calvin has mentioned, we have Russia and Denmark to come in the next one. That'll be a real humdinger. Artem Laguta and Milsai Fudinov up against Michael Jepsen-Jensen and Kenneth Bier. And that is the next heat. What a lineup that is.
Well, it is, you're right to point it out, and I just fancy that Denmark will be very keen to get a heat advantage. Russia could actually pull away if they could do something there. Isn't easy to get a 5-1. So far this evening, out of the first 15 heats, we've only had one 5-1, and I think that is that's a reflection on how the track is behaving. Not easy to get both boys out in front.
Let's hear from the German team manager. Herbert Rudolph is with Kiri.
Just moving there, Herbert. You must be a happy team manager right now, leading with 19 points.
Yeah, happy is the wrong word because the race is not finished, and yeah, at the moment it looks good for the result.
Okay, well the boys are certainly riding as a team at the moment.
Yeah, the team works really good together, and exactly the reserve rider, Michael, work together, and we have some fails with the bike and one puncher in the team, but we score many points now, and I can tell you more after the meeting.
All right, thanks, Herbert.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Cheers.
Yep, well, Pepe Rudolph was a very good long track rider in his day. I rode against him a lot. He's been the national team manager for several seasons now, and he wasn't quite sure what they could achieve tonight when I spoke to him before the meeting, Nigel, but got to say, I fancied that they would get third tonight, but on this evidence, they could win it.
Could well do.
Prawdziwy dynamit, jak śpiewa Matej Żagar, leci taka piosenka. Początek rozkręcałeś się, a teraz latasz.
Oj, spokojnie, Lukasz. Do latania daleko, no ale cieszę się, że dzisiaj przyleciałem na mecz, bo wczoraj miałem odwolany lot. Cieszę się, że jestem tutaj dla swojego państwa, kochanego państwa. Robimy co możemy, jeszcze 2 wyścigi do końca. No mam nadzieję, że się coś poprawi, jakaś iskra wskoczy i będzie lepiej.
Rozpalasz iskry w boksie, na ciebie można liczyć, jesteś jak ojciec dla tych chłopaków tam. Czy to czasem cię nie wkurza, że Słowenia to jest tylko Matej Żagar, jeszcze trzeba dużo pomocy i pracy dla pozostałych chłopaków?
Nie, na pewno by było łatwiej i większa, powiem, taka rywalizacja pozytywna, większa mobilizacja też, oczywiście ambicja, bo chcesz więcej, im więcej osiągasz, no im więcej chcesz, także, ale robimy co możemy.
A tłumaczysz im to w prostych żołnierskich słowach?
Nie, no prosto to nie ma. Mi się wydaje, że chyba świat już dobrze mnie zna, że ze mną nie ma jakichś wymysłu, także po co jeszcze to mówię.
Dziękuję pięknie, tyle szczerze do bólu Matej Żagar.
Nie do bólu, szczerze.
Well, multilingual, of course, Mr. Zagar speaking Polish there, and of course fluent in English and his home tongue, of course, so very impressive that. I didn't realise that, but he's been very impressive on the track as well. He hasn't just been talking to the interviewers, he's been talking on the track, winning races in fine style.
Yeah, he's got 9 from 4 rides, 2 race wins, Matej Zagar, and a real world-class performer from Slovenia. Lots of experience around the leagues, but as picking and choosing his racing quite carefully these days.
Yeah, he's been very selective. Only rides in one league at the moment. Germany leading the way after 5 races. Russia hunting them down with only 4 heats raced. United States on 14 after 5 heats. And Denmark on 14. They're the danger to United States. There's no doubt about Denmark. But the
This
big
is a
clash
big race
coming
now.
up
Yeah.
with Russia and Denmark.
Absolutely.
That's a mouth-watering heat coming up.
And Greg Hancock of the USA is with Kiri in the pits.
Well, Greg, that last heat was a tricky heat. The German boys certainly put the pace on you.
Yeah, they did. I made a little bit of a jump start there and completely destroyed a really nice spot I dug up there for the start, and I paid the price in the restart, but that's racing.
It is 14 points, though, still in the mix.
Yeah, we're in the mix, and, you know, we got to stick in there, and good birthday present to get through this thing.
Indeed. Thanks, Greg, and happy birthday for tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, yeah, well, he's going to give himself a great birthday present if he gets his nation to the finals. He's riding as well as ever. These two boys just preparing themselves for the upcoming race. Not easy to get both of them to the front. A big 5-1 now to either of these teams would be a huge move and really put themselves in the driving seats as racing is coming to the end of the night. Saifutinov and Artem Laguta haven't quite managed to click as a pair so far. They've picked up good points, but haven't managed to quite get to the first corner together. And that's been difficult for any riders tonight. We've only, as I said earlier, we've only seen one 5-1, and that's from the home nation. And they're going great guns tonight. They seem to have had a really good understanding between each other so far, the Germans.
Yes, so Russia in red and blue and Denmark in white and yellow in the next race coming up here at the Bergring in Teterow. Nice atmosphere, decent crowd, scattering of fans all around the arena. Always difficult, Kelv, when you've got 2 major events in a year at the same track.
Yes.
And we're back here in September for the Grand Prix, of
Yeah,
course.
the Grand Prix, we've had 2 here, and they've both been very well attended. And you're right, you know, this is a qualifier. It's not the main attraction. It's not the main event, so you wouldn't expect to have as many people, but there's still a healthy crowd. And they'll be very pleased to see the home nation going through. Plenty of local Germans. There's a lot of local speedway tracks and clubs in this area, so there's a good support for Speedway in the northeast, and that's where we are. We are in the northeast. We're not far from Poland, actually. It's not too far to the border. We're northeast of Berlin, if you're thinking about where we are.
Well, if we were in a pairs final with the Poles in it, this place would just be absolutely packed, wouldn't it?
It'd be heaving, yeah. The Poles would be flooding in their thousands here. We had 12,000, I believe, for the Grand Prix last year, and it was very dodgy weather. So, yeah, it can take a lot. Riders are just having to be a touch patient. Phil Morris is rushing around, the race director, just making sure that track and everything is in order for racing to start again. But as we've said already, this is quite a big heat. This could be the race of the night. This could see one of these nations really gather momentum and push on and win the event.
Quite easily. Denmark right now on 14 points. Russia are on 15. The leaders are Germany on 19. So a 5-1 for Russia would put them ahead of Germany. But of course it is the top 2 nations after 21 races who go through to the final in Poland, Wrocław, next Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah, absolutely, and it wouldn't be a major surprise to see both of these teams going through as 1 and 2, but I'm sure that there's going to be more to be said, and there's a few twists and turns to go. But for the very present, for the very upcoming race, I've got to say, very much looking forward to this race. This is going to be quite a tussle here.
Yep. So here we go with heat number 17, and it's a big one, this. Russia in red and blue up against Denmark in white and yellow. And an all-star cast for this one. Artem Laguta off the inside in red for the Russians. And a reminder, Russia are on 15 points, Denmark are on 14, Germany lead the meeting on 19. So it's Artem Laguta off the inside. Gate number 2 in white for the Danes is Michael Jepsen Jensen. Gate 3 blue is Emil Saifutinov for the Russians. And going off the outside in yellow is Kenneth Pierre for Denmark.
Big lineup. Very difficult to get 5-1s tonight. We've only seen one, and that's from Germany. If either one of these teams was able to do it now, that would be a huge statement of intent. Momentum.
1-5-1 can get you straight through to the final, Kel.
There you go. So that's how important it is. Laguta and Saifutinov against 1 and 3. Possibly that is an advantage at this stage after a grading break. Time will tell. Jepsen Jensen's had his moments tonight. Pierre looked competitive last time. 4 world-class riders here. 2 riders from Russia currently in the Grand Prix series. They've got to be favourites to get the better of the opposition.
Yep, heat number 17 it is then here. Huge race. Russia in the red and blue helmet colour. Denmark in the white and yellow. Here we go. Heat number 17. Little bit of movement at the start. The race continues though, and it's looking good for Team Russia right now. Pierre trying to break through but can't quite do it. Now Laguta needs to look over his shoulder. Laguta really does need to look for Emil Saifutinov, and he has done. He's looked over his left shoulder, and now Kenneth Pierre is swarming all over Emil Saifutinov. But Laguta has the lead. Russia are on a 5-1, and this will put Russia as leaders of the meeting on 20 points if it stays like this.
Big move that. Great first corner from the Russians. Really got there. Was a little untidy on the start line. Pierre and Jepsen Jensen just being out-battled. Russia showing their class here. 2 quality riders, 2 Grand Prix stars, beginning to really stamp their authority. Artem Laguta has been outstanding all night long, and for the first time tonight the 2 Russians are side by side, dominating Heat 17.
Looking quick and really in cohesion here now, because they are close to each other, and Laguta looks over his shoulder and thumbs up to Saifutinov. Team Russia do the business, and Denmark now with 1 point there puts them on to 15, 20 now for Russia, but Denmark are on 15 points and they only have 1 heat remaining.
Good
so they are running out of time to try and qualify automatically in the top 2.
Absolutely, that was a heavy blow there for the Danes, no doubt about it. Did I say that gates 1 and 3 could well have proved to be significant here? We'll see it again. A bit of movement from Jepsen Jensen, but the race is allowed to continue. He definitely jumps early, you can see
he's
it
punished
there.
himself there, he's finished last in the race. Maybe that was in Christina Turnbull's thinking.
He doesn't do himself any favours. He lifted as he got to the first corner, he left the door open. Saifutinov and Pierre charge underneath him, but Artem Laguta once again riding beautifully out in front. Emil Saifutinov there hanging on in second place and joins his teammate out in front. A big move by the Russians. And 5 points, second 5-1 of the night. Russia picking up. That was a big result for Russia, that.
Well, the winners of the meeting could be decided in Heat 20 when it's Germany against Russia. As things stand right now, Russia 20, Germany 19. Top 2 go through, remember, 6 rides each. So 1 apiece remaining. Time running out for the Danes. They may have to gamble. They have no choice but to gamble in a knockout race-off. And then anything can happen.
Indeed. And if they finish third, they'll have to be patient. They'll have to wait for the Heat 22 with 4th and 5th racing off. And they will have gate position pick for Heat 23 to try and grab that last place if it proves to be the case. We've got USA here, and Zagar and Slovenia. And Greg Hancock will be looking to try and make a better getaway here, but Zagar will be no easy task. We're looking at the way Russia dominated Heat 17, and that really was a pivotal moment, the first time that the pre-meeting favourites really put their best foot forward, and they did it in fine style.
We're up to heat number 18. It's Slovenia against the USA, and if the USA, you feel, are going to have any chance whatsoever of pinching a top 2 spot, Manzarek is going to have to step up to the plate. They need a 4-2 here, really, USA. And the gate positions are such that Mati Zagar is off the inside gate for Slovenia. Manzarek for the USA off 2 in yellow. Gate 3 is Ivicic for Slovenia. And the old master, Greg Hancock, is going off the outside in the white helmet colour. Here we go, heat number 18. It's getting very, very tense out there. Here at the Bergring Arena in Teterow. Green lights are on. And away from the start, and Manzarek has got the lead ahead of the Slovenian in 3rd spot, and now he's gone wide and Slovenian comes up the inside, says thank you very much, and that's Ivicic getting the better of Manzarek, who's come back to repay the compliment. USA on a 4-2, Hancock has the lead over Zagar. USA would move on to 18 points and put themselves right in the mix if Manzarek holds the line and finishes on a 4-2 here.
Significant move here. Greg Hancock made a lot of work, did a lot of work on gate 4, and it's proved to work beautifully. He's got a great getaway to get the better of Zagar. Gino Manzarek, I thought he'd thrown it away in the first corner, but has recovered to get the better of the opposition, and he's through into third place. Manzarek, that's a very, very important third place.
Zagar slowing up.
Down big
Zagar
time.
slowing up big
he
time.
Has indeed, and that will be interesting to see what Manzarek makes of that. Hancock's won the race. Zagar desperately trying to get Manzarek overtaken by...
Oh, no, Manzarek!
Oh, they've both gone down. Both gone down.
Goodness
Zagar
gracious
slowing
me.
the race down. Manzarek then losing control completely in turns 3 and 4. And then Ivicic having to lay the bike down. And we can't quite see from our position here exactly how riders are. Manzarek is still on the deck and Ivicic is on his feet, but that was a nasty moment.
Well. Drama here in heat 19 of the, heat number 18 of the Monster Energy FIM Speedway of Nations. Let's hope that Gino is going to be up and about.
Yeah, I just wonder whether Zagar and how the referee will interpret this when riders are slowing down to try and get their teammates through. Is that creating a problem that shouldn't really be there? Manzarek certainly lost composure, and the ambulance has now made its way onto the track because there is concern for Gino Manzarek. But Greg Hancock made a great start from the outside. It was looking so good for America there. And Zagar then slowed right down quite dramatically. And as they concertinaed up going through the last corner on the last lap, Manzarek's got too much grip and the bike reared up underneath him. And Ivicic had to put the bike down. That'll be a 3-all, I believe.
Yep. And more immediately our concerns are with Gino Manzarek. We hope that he's going to be okay. Fingers crossed Gino will be up and about, but they are giving him attention now down there on turn number 4. And as we can see, the ambulance is there. And we wish Gino all the very best.
I don't quite know what to think about this when they slow right down. So it's something that we don't normally see.
But Kelvin, in that situation, did he just not lose control of the bike?
Quite possibly,
Got some
but
grip?
I'm wondering if he was put off by the fact that Zagar was going slowly, wasn't at racing speed. But it may have nothing to do with it at all. But Zagar clearly did slow down quite dramatically.
Well, let's hope that Gino's going to be okay. Living his dream, coming to Europe, Gino Manzarek to race. Scunthorpe in the championship in the UK used to ride for the Ipswich Witches as well. Gino Manzarek is a likeable character, very popular everywhere he goes. And we send him our very, very best wishes and hope that he's going to be okay. Having attention down there on turn number 4. He is conscious, we're told, which is good news. And this is what happened.
Yeah, Zagar slowed down. Gino Manzarek, you're right, Nigel. Although Zagar slowed, he didn't cause that problem.
Oh!
He got a clout there, though, didn't he?
Oh!
Nasty.
Fingers crossed.
It's unfortunate from where we are. Zagar's having a good look around him. And he comes in here. And Zagar's hugging the inside. Manzarek's there, just having to turn the bike a touch harder than he wanted to. Lifts, and then, Ivicic had nowhere to go. And you've got to feel for Manzarek. He's had a real bash on the back of the head. That's
He'll have
nasty.
a headache in the morning, won't he?
He will feel very second-hand. He's going to need a couple of horse pills to get over that one.
Oh, no. Don't like that.
We've seen that enough, I think.
Yes. Yeah, move on from that. Gino Manzarek has been excluded. So it does mean that it's a 3 apiece, but quite frankly, I'm more concerned about Gino Manzarek. I hope he's going to be up and about and okay. He's having the very, very, very best attention down there on the track.
Well, fingers crossed he can make a recovery, because that's a heavy impact, and he made a massive effort to get here. But we now see the result. It is a 3-all.
Yeah, Zagar was second. Ivicic gets third place. USA are on 17. And Slovenia are on 13. Slovenia also runs at the moment as things stand. But remember, top 5 stay in the competition. It's only 6 and 7 that dip out at the end of heat 21.
That's actually quite a key result for Slovenia. That added point they got there because of the accident puts them in 5th place, and 5th place gets another chance in heat 22. So they're not out of it, and with a rider of Zagar's quality, then anything is possible. Tough call that for Manzarek. Zagar slowed. Are we seeing Manzarek get to his feet? Very awkward from here.
He's on the stretcher. They're putting him in the ambulance on the stretcher.
Right, okay.
He is conscious though, that's good news. But he's going to feel rough, isn't he?
It's a nasty incident.
Yeah. He's waving to the crowd, great to see.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and he's in good hands. And good to see. Let's hope that he's going to be okay. Gino, that was a nasty clash to the head.
Slovenia have got one more race to come in Heat 21, and they will go up against Latvia. So
USA have finished.
So they still have a chance, you know, Slovenia, of potentially still qualifying for the Speedway of Nations final. And Germans are looking good. They're having a great run. There's Tobias Kroner there.
Yeah.
With the shirt on. He's recently retired, but had his moments as a German rider in Britain. He rode in the UK, of course, for a period of time, and a decent rider in his day.
Yep. Heat number 19 will be next once the ambulance has cleared the track with Gino Manzarek, and we will try and bring you an update before we go off air on Gino.
Big race coming up, Nigel, in 19 for Denmark.
Yes.
Having had that 5-1 on the back end, on the wrong end, I mean, of a 5-1 against Russia, Denmark need to turn the tables here and try and get a 5-1 in heat number 19 themselves against Ukraine.
Yep, so we will have, I think what's happening here is that the one ambulance is moving into the position down by us over the home straight where the ambulance that has Gino was. That is what's happening at the moment. Gino Manzarek is clearly going for further attention, which is the right thing to do, naturally, after an impact on the head like that. But good that he's conscious and good that he's waving to the crowd.
Yeah, he momentarily may have just been knocked out, so they'll be observing him. They'll be keeping him under observation for at least the next 12 hours, I would think. May well be that he has to spend a night in hospital, but that is the safest place for him if that's the case. The ambulance now is swapping over, and that will be in position A, and that will allow racing to continue. And fingers crossed, and our best wishes, like you rightly say, for Manzarek, because that was an unfortunate incident.
So close to nicking third place there. And
that would have been huge. That
4-2, yeah.
That 4-2, that would have given America a real sense of impetus and a very useful 4 points. But it's not the case. But it was useful for Slovenia, Nides, because they're in 5th right now.
Yeah, and as things stand, it's very unlikely we would see Gino in the knockout, if you pardon the pun, the knockout stages anyway. That was an unfortunate choice of words, I accept that, but that's what it is. And therefore, you know, Greg's on his own now, and we probably won't see we won't see the USA in Poland.
No, that's unfortunate, and I know that they'll be desperately disappointed. Luke Becker being injured, that's a real blow for them. They've been short-handed tonight, and with that injury to Manzarek, that means that their chances are very, very slim indeed.
So heat number 19, and it is the Ukraine against Denmark, and Denmark are on 15 points right now. Russia are on 20, Germany are on 19, but Germany and Russia meet in the next one, heat number 20.
Yeah.
So we really are getting down to the nitty-gritty now, and this is Denmark's last outing in the qualifying heats. This will determine whether they have any chance whatsoever of getting through straight in as the top two, but we suspect they maybe have left themselves a little bit too much work to do, because they're already 4 behind Germany and 5 behind Russia.
Need a 5-1.
They do indeed. Heat 19, and it is Ukraine in the red and blue, Denmark in the white and yellow. It's off the inside, Andrei Karpov for the Ukraine. Gate 2 in white, Michael Jepsen-Jensen for Denmark. Gate 3 in blue, Alexander Loktaev for the Ukraine, and off the outside in yellow, Kenneth Bier for Denmark.
It is indeed. Michael Jepsen-Jensen doing a lot of gardening there on gate 2, desperate to try and find a good spot to get a great drive to the first corner. Don't rule out Karpov on the inside. He was quick last time.
Tidy rider.
He is a tidy rider, and Loktaev, they're not. They're certainly excited to be here, and they're riding very well indeed. Outside, Kenneth Bier. They've got to show their experience here. got to hold their composure, because a 5-1 here will give them an outside chance of a top 2 spot.
It will still be an outside chance, it has to be said. Now, here we go. Heat number 19.
Whoa.
What a start from Andrei Karpov. Is the referee happy with that? No, the red lights are on.
Tell you what, that's
Red lights are
marginal,
on.
that one.
Wow. So, here we see it again, heat 19.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't touched the tapes.
No, he does go a bit early. Yeah. He's had a warning, hasn't he?
Yes.
I think he may well have penalised himself. It's just got himself excluded again. That's a shame. That's a shame for Ukraine. It's a bonus for Denmark.
Yes. Well. There we are. Andrei Karpov excluded. And you cannot bring in, although the Ukraine don't have an under-21 rider, the rule is that you cannot bring in a reserve rider for a starting offence anyway. So even if the Ukraine did have a under-21 reserve, they couldn't use him anyway for a starting offence.
No.
Karpov too keen there, and he was already on a warning.
It's the second time he's been excluded for jumping the start, so he hasn't had the best of nights, but when he has been racing, he's looked really good.
He will argue that it was just a great start.
Yeah, of course he will, but unfortunately, when you see it here, does just go a fraction early there.
Does he?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Here we see it again. I think it's a perfect start.
It goes when the tapes go up. It's marginal. It's marginal.
There we go. Tapes go, now he goes.
No, he goes early.
Okay. You're not going to agree with me under any circumstances, are you?
Well, I would if you were right, but you're wrong.
I always am. I always am with you.
We agreed in Prague on something. I can't remember what it was, but we did agree.
Right. Okay. Yes,
Moving on.
Kelvin and I always have a discussion. He has his point of view, I have mine, and then we agree he's right. Heat 19. 3 riders only, no Karpov for the Ukraine, and Loktayev has moved across to the inside gate in blue.
Yeah.
And it is Jepsen Jensen off gate 2 in white for the Danes, and Kenneth Vier off the outside in yellow for Denmark. Opportunity here for Denmark.
Well, we agree on that, because it
Great.
is absolutely that. And they need to get the 5-1 here. Jepsen Jensen needs to get the better of Loktayev, hold him on the inside and allow Kenneth Vier around the outside in the first corner, and then ride as a pair and pick up the 5 points. Easily said, not so easily done. So got to believe that Loktayev, if he gets away here, he's on the inside, he'll make the Danes work hard. But you've got to believe that Denmark really do need the 5-1 right now.
Yes, they do indeed. Heat 19. This is a huge moment for Denmark. They need a 5-1 here. And they're away, but it's a good start by Loktayev off the inside gate now. He's proving to be a spoiler here. Now he goes wide. Oh, and that closes the door for Jepsen Jensen. Denmark are only on a 3-all here. The man in blue is the Ukrainian Alexander Loktayev, and he is outpacing Michael Jepsen Jensen and Kenneth Vier, and this could be Denmark's hopes of automatically going through to Wroclaw in the final, going up in smoke here.
Yeah, Jepsen Jensen's coming on strong in second place. They're desperate to try and get through to the front. Loktayev is making the work awfully hard, really stacking up in behind him. Jepsen Jensen putting him under all sorts of pressure. Loktayev responding, hanging on out in front. Can he hold his composure here? Just over a lap to go. He's looking good in front. Yeah, Loktayev now under massive pressure from Jepsen Jensen. Oh, that's tight as they enter the first corner for the last time.
If it stays a 3-all, it's jubilation for Germany and Russia, because they will go straight through to Wroclaw on Friday and Saturday. It's Germany and Russia who join Poland in Wroclaw for the final of the Speedway of Nations next Friday and Saturday. Russia are on 20, Germany are on 19. Denmark have finished their qualifying heats on 18 points. And Germany and Russia will do battle in the next, purely to decide who wins on the night.
Well, that is quite a result, and you've got to believe that Denmark missed a trick there. Down to one man, Ukraine. They come up with a brilliant ride from Loktayev, and Denmark will be kicking themselves a bit. They've still got a chance, still got a good chance of making the finals next week, but they're going to have to do it the hard way.
Denmark have ridden all their heats on 18. The only heats to come are Russia and Germany and Slovenia against Latvia. So the top two go through, and Russia and Germany are safe. So Russia and Germany will go through to the final of the Monster Energy FIM Speedway of Nations next Friday and Saturday in Poland. And the next heat is Germany against Russia, purely to decide who wins tonight's meeting.
Loktaev on the inside. This is a coming-of-age ride for him. No doubt about that. No, nothing to lose, everything to gain. On the inside gate, on his own, up against two previous Grand Prix campaigners here. This really is quite a ride from him. He pushes hard in the first corner, and as hard as Epson Jensen tries, he cannot find a way through. It gets awfully tight as they enter the first corner for the last time, but Loktaev's in the right place at the right time. He's got that throttle wide open, and he rides a stormer, possibly the ride of his career so far, and comes through to win and denied Denmark any chance of qualifying straight through to the finals in first and second place. Work to be done for Denmark. I still expect them to qualify, but these two teams are already through, Russia and Germany.
Yes, and as things stand, Denmark would go through to heat number 22. Which will be the deciding heat. Denmark could well finish third here now, and that will mean that they will go straight through to the final race to decide who joins the top two.
Yeah, that's heat 23, I think. And heat 22 will be fourth and fifth race off. And heat 23 will see Denmark up against the winners of heat 22. So
you're spot on, yes.
They have to wait a little bit. Good clash this between Russia and Germany. Germany have been a surprise. I was expecting them to qualify, but not as the top two. They have ridden beautifully together. These two teams have done the business.
Smolinski's off the inside, Legutsa off 2, Huckenbeck on 3, and it is Huckenbeck. Oh no, he's missed the start. Legutsa's made a good one. Now here comes Legutsa around the outside of Smolinski, inside Saifutinov down the back straight. They're wheel to wheel as things stand. Saifutinov now locks up, and Germany are on a 3-all, running out of room. The man in red is Kai Huckenbeck, and Saifutinov is through. This would be a 4-2 to the Russians, who would finish on 24 points tonight. Germany would finish on 21, and it would be Team Russia winning race-off 1 of the Monster Energy FIM Speedway of Nations.
Saifutinov coming on strong in third place. Russia really beginning to show their class here. Saifutinov with Emil Saifutinov. Oh, brilliant move from him to get the better of Smolinski up the inside. This could be consecutive 5-1s for the Russian team, and really showing their class here late on in the night. Artem Legutsa has been outstanding. Saifutinov has ridden brilliantly to get to second place.
Yep, 25 to Russia. 25 points to Russia, 20 to Germany as Huckenbeck goes down late on.
He's okay.
He's okay.
Up.
Yep.
Smolinski in third place. Great stuff from Russia. They clinch it in fine style. 2 5-1s to complete the night for them. They're through comfortably in the end, fully deservedly, and a lot of people fancy them to go all the way in Wrocław over 2 days at the end of next week. Russia looking good. Germany through as well. Great work from both those two teams.
Well, we now know that Latvia and Slovenia in the last heat here, heat 21, they cannot catch the nations in the top 5 here. So it's a 5-1 to Russia. Russia win the meeting. They have finished tonight on 25 points. Germany go through on 20. Now we have Denmark, who will go straight through to heat 23, and then we have the USA and the Ukraine doing battle in heat number 22. However, if Gino Manzarek cannot ride, it will be a formality for the Ukraine to win and go and take on Denmark for the final place in Wrocław next weekend. That's how it's shaping up.
Yep, and it's shaped up very nicely for Russia. There's no question about that. They have ridden really well. They were a little untidy. They couldn't quite ride as a pair earlier on in the night, but here we see evidence of it working very well again. The Legutsa has been terrific all night long. Saifutinov has found conditions a little bit more demanding, but I've got to say he rides really well here to get the better of Smolinski. Track is slick. You can clearly see the track is slick. It's not easy to overtake. Not a lot of banking on this place. And look at this move. He comes roaring up the inside to get the better of Smolinski. Late on in the race, Huckenbeck just running in a little bit too hot into the pit corner, and he falls off. He's okay. Doesn't make any difference to the result. Legutsa riding well. Punches the air with delight. Russia have won on the night. and they go through to the Speedway of Nations finals next week in Wrocław in fine style, and it's a track both of those two riders will know very well, and they are a pair to be feared, and they've also got a very useful under-21 rider if something were to happen to one of them. So they are a good looking professional outfit, and you've got to believe that they will be really boosted and full of confidence going into the finals next week.
Yeah, we're now down to heat number 21. And it is Latvia against Slovenia, although the tractors are out and the water bowser. So I can only assume that we will have a short break before heat 21 now, and we'll reflect on the action very shortly. So, Latvia against Slovenia coming up in heat 21. I thought the grading may have been done after heat 21.
Well, that's
Head off
what I
for
thought was going to happen, but it hasn't. But Laguta, big beaming smile there. He has returned to the highest level of Speedway racing this year, and he's doing it in fine style. Good news for him, he's delighted with that. He had a final appearance, of course, in Warsaw in the opening Grand Prix of the season, and Russia are looking good, and we'll be excited about seeing them at the end of next week. One race of the qualifying heats to go, pretty much a formality really. I don't believe it's going to have really any bearing on the result tonight, unless my partner in crime here tells me otherwise. I think that Latvia and Slovenia aren't able to get into 4th or 5th place. Is that correct, Nige?
You're spot on as it stands.
Okay.
We have USA and Ukraine will be heat 22, and the winners of that will face Denmark in heat 23 in a straight shootout heat 23 to decide who joins Russia and Germany in Poland on Friday and Saturday of next week.
Yeah, well, Ukraine, Mr. Karpov is going to have to behave himself if he wants to get the better of the opposition and try and get himself through. Now in heats 22 and 23, of course, 3-alls become all important. If you get a 3-all, second and third beats a win. So yes, team riding once again, the emphasis on team riding will be hugely important. It's been an interesting night of Speedway. The Germans have ridden well. Greg Hancock just having a good chat with Martin Smolinski with Lance King on the left. So work to be done for the Americans. But a good night of Speedway of Nations Speedway with 3 races to come. Well, heat 21 we are waiting patiently for. We're having some track grading now with 3 races to go. Got to believe that Germany have done well, you know, Nigel, to qualify straight through. They will be absolutely delighted with that. And they're a nation that are not renowned. They don't have a lot of World Championship Speedway. Igor Müller was their world champion back in 1983 in Norden in the north of Germany. Martin Smolinski was a Grand Prix rider for a year, won the opening round of the World Championship in New Zealand, but wasn't able to maintain or hold on to his Grand Prix status. But there's no doubt that tonight that Hülkenberg and Smolinski, behind the Russians, have done their country proud, Nigel. They really have.
Yeah, very much so. So still waiting for this heat 21, Latvia and Slovenia, which both nations cannot now make any progress in the Speedway of Nations. So this is the grading break before that heat, and then we are into the final 2 heats, which are the knockout stages of tonight.
I don't know why they didn't do this between 22 and 23, because we're going to have to wait for one team to do 2 races on the back-to-back. So
maybe they'll still do it.
Yeah,
maybe they'll do another grading break. Maybe.
Possibly.
So
there we are. Anyway, so we it's quite possibly Phil Morris, the race director, felt that the track was just beginning to get away from him, and he wanted to freshen it up with the last 3 heats to come. Let's see, only point of the only argument I can see, but he's out there controlling matters once again, and he'll be hoping that the riders get a decent surface to ride on in heat 21.
Well, so Slovenia are putting Nick Skoyer out here as the reserve in yellow, I should say. So Nick Skoya is the man who has got the yellow helmet on here for a final ride in the Speedway of Nations.
Yeah, and it's been a night of experience for Skoya. An opportunity for him to get out there again. He's had a couple of rides. This will be his third ride. Ivicic has fallen off in the previous ride and hasn't really had that much to do tonight, really. Ivicic hasn't really weighed in with many points, so it's an opportunity for Skoya to gain invaluable experience. Zagar has done great for his team. And I've got to say, Lebedevs and Podzuks have been a little bit disappointing. Last year they made the final and did great, or certainly made the race off, excuse me. And Lebedev certainly, also for Wroclaw in the extra leader, was riding well. He hasn't got the same form this year. And that's a little disappointing for him. I'm sure he'll recapture it because he's quite a forceful, hard-charging rider. And no doubt, we did see him briefly actually ride for the Kings Lynn Stars in the UK. He didn't last long, but he went back to Europe and then moved on from there.
Well, we do apologise for keeping you waiting here, but just waiting for heat number 21, which, as we say, is the final heat of the qualifiers. Heat 21. Phil Morris just checking that he's happy with track grading. Well, he's not happy, is he?
Well, maybe it was beyond his control.
Well, we've got some children in the crowd tonight, which is good to see. They're enjoying them. Was that the floss? That young man was doing the floss then, I'm sure he was. You don't know what that is, Cal, do you?
No idea.
No. There you go.
Maybe if I keep watching, I might get an idea.
Absolutely. Entertainment during the grading break from the youngsters in the crowd. Smiles around. It's a nice, hot, sunny
Germans
evening.
are smiling because they've gone straight through and they've done really well tonight. Huckenbeck and Smolinski, they can feel very proud of themselves. And we'll see them next week. Zagar now. Right, it's just beginning to emerge on a freshly prepared track for Heat 21.
Freshly prepared track for a race which is just for consolation for these guys now. They're out of the tournament, so they're just going to go and enjoy themselves one last time. Heat number 21. This is Mati Zagar for Slovenia. He'll be partnered by Nick Skoya, his under-21 reserve colleague. Heat 21 then. The final race of qualifying is on the way, and then we've got two more heats to decide the third nation to go through. Heat 21 is Latvia against Slovenia. Latvia are in the red and blue, and Slovenia are in the white and yellow. Neither nation can make progress from here. This is just a consolation race for them. And off the inside in red it will be Andrzej Lebedevs for Latvia. Gate 2 in white will be Mati Zagar for Slovenia. Gate 3 in blue is Kas Podzuks for Latvia. And going off the outside in yellow, Nick Skoya for Slovenia.
Well, Zagar's got to be favourite here. He'll be looking to finish the night in style, I'm sure. Gate 2 for him. He's won some races tonight and has looked good when he has been out in front. Lebedevs and Podzuks have been battling, but they haven't been able to work as well as a pair tonight. And Lebedevs, well, last year he really was red hot in the World Cup, particularly in the qualifying Västervik in Sweden when he denied the Danes, but tonight hasn't had quite the same level of performance. Settling down, we've had to be very patient here for Heat 21, there's no doubt about that. We are just about to get all four riders up to tapes, and we will now very shortly be on with it.
Here we go, Heat 21 then of the Speedway of Nations here in Teterow. And they're away first time of asking here, and it's a good start from Zagar. Oh, and the man in red takes out his colleague. Lebedevs has just taken Podzuks out wide. That has allowed Skoya into third place. It is only consolation this heat, remember. Both these nations are now out of the tournament. This is their final appearance in the meeting tonight, and their presence in the Speedway of Nations ends here. There's a battle here for Podzuks in blue, trying hard on Nick Skoya. But we have the knockout races to come. USA, Ukraine and Denmark. Denmark, we remind you, are already through to Heat 23. That is the last chance knockout to see who joins Germany, Russia and Poland in the Speedway of Nations final. But Mati Zagar looking good.
Yeah, he is indeed. He's out in front, no surprise there. Lebedev's really put paid to his teammates' chances. He very nearly clouted him in the first corner and forced Podzooks to the back, and Skoya's riding well, the under-21 in third place. Zagar round that last corner, no problems at all, wins in fine style. Lebedev second. Skoya will be pleased with that. He picks up a point. He'll be chuffed a bit coming in to replace Ivacic in Heat 21 with Podzooks. Will be a touch grumpy, I think, with his teammate after that first corner.
I think Latvia will be disappointed. 14 points.
Yeah,
They're
not
better than
enough,
that, aren't they?
No, they're better than that, and they haven't had the same form this year, Nigel. I don't know why. Lebedev's particularly hasn't been able to reproduce the same form as we saw him in last year, but Zagar looking good out in front in Heat 21.
Slovenia 4, Latvia 2, 21 heats completed. Russia and Germany are through to the final, and we now have 3 nations battling it out for one more spot: USA, Ukraine and Denmark.
Well, no surprise to see Zagar win the race. He sprints off. Not quite know why. Maybe he has a call of nature. Who knows? But he comes charging away from gate 2, gets the better of Lebedevs, who then doesn't really do Podzooks any favours there, forces him wide, and Podzook just cannot land a blow. Watch it again now. He comes across there, nothing intentional, but they both got there at the same time, and Podzook just got himself in a position where he just got missed out. Zagar rides really quite comfortably out in front, just a high-speed demonstration from the number 1 man from Slovenia. A bit disappointed, of course, because their Speedway of Nations campaign, is over tonight. But Skorja, they'll be chuffed with that. That was a handy ride for him. And again, that's what the Speedway of Nations is about. Opportunities for riders with limited experience at the highest level. Here we see some points coming up, Nigel, and it will be a disappointing night for Latvia.
I did make an error there, by the way, because a 5-1 Slovenia, we know that that has propelled them, put them ahead of Ukraine. So we now know the situation here. That was my error. My mathematics let me down.
That was significant then, because Slovenia with that 4-2 there, Nigel, has given themselves another chance.
Yep. Now let's hear from Martin Smolenski of Germany with Kiri.
Well, Martin, 20 points takes you straight the way through to the final. That smile says it all.
That's awesome. I mean, we have the German fans behind us. Big thank you much, everyone. Big thank you very much for the team and everyone behind us. We had a very good team spirit. We worked very good together, and we showed on which pace we are in Germany.
And you guys seem to enjoy riding as a pair.
Of course, yes. We looked very good about each other, and we helped each other a lot. And I must say that's team riding. It's just we have a very good karma each other. So we love it. Thanks back home. They support us.
Okay, well, we'll see you on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, we will go there and see what's happening. We try our best, it's a new track. But I think we have a very good team spirit. We will go there, and hopefully a lot of German fans will follow us. And even big thank you very much to our sponsors, because, if we wouldn't have our sponsors, we couldn't be here. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Martin.
Lovely, cheers.
Great night for Germany.
I should also say, by the way, congratulations to Slovenia, who I wrote out of the competition far too prematurely, because that 4-2 has edged out Ukraine on countback. So Slovenia are through, and I sincerely apologise. Somebody get me a calculator, will you?
You are forgiven. And it was a very useful point for Mr. Skorja, and getting the better of Podzooks and Lebedevs effectively with that little bit of argy-bargy with his teammate in the first corner does Slovenia a favour. And with America down to 1 rider, you've got to believe that Slovenia could well get through to Heat 23, where they'll meet Denmark in a bit of a showdown for the last place for Wroclaw.
Let's hear from Emil Sayfutdinov now with Kiri.
Emil, 25 points takes you all the way through to the final. You and Artem rode in style tonight.
Yes, this was amazing, meeting with. It's really tough, because I look, it's a little bit get some dirt, So I so happy, and we go to the final and fight to some medals, Of course, it will be hard because it's final, and we try to do that.
Did you enjoy riding your first night as a pair with Artem?
Yes. We just try to, speak on the track, It's like speak. So, you know, it's I has like gate 3 and 4, and I just try to fight. You know, it's for my points, and because Artem has a good start, and he just keep, you know, with his points, and I try just do everything to be, you know, behind him. So so we did that, and we're happy.
Okay, Emma, we'll see you in the finals.
Thank you. See you later. Bye bye.
Interesting point he made there, because he definitely got the inferior gates. Laguta got the inside gates, and Saifutanov rode brilliantly in his last 2 outings to join his partner at the front. So good work from Saifutanov. He did the hard yards there to get the big 5-1s.
Yep, so we await heat number 22, where Slovenia will compete, despite my inaccurate commentary, in heat 21. And USA, it's Russia and Germany automatically through, and Denmark will await the winners of heat 22 in heat 23. That's how it is. So we're just awaiting the confirmed lineup for 4th v 5th here in Teterow. We'll bring that to you just as soon as we can. Slovenia 4th.
Well, they will have pick.
Yes.
They will have gate pick for heat 22. It'll be interesting to see which way Zagar and Ivicic or Skoya could come out for another ride here now. Go, whether they go for 1 and 3. Quite possibly will go for gates 1 and 3. Here we see it now. Riders now just gathering.
Okay, Team Slovenia, which gates do you choose in the first knockout heat?
Red and blue.
Okay, can you send your riders? The riders, go.
Slovenia in red and blue. Zagar in red.
Okay, Lance King, Team America, please. I know you have a small choice now, and unfortunate, but please make your choice.
Hey, Greg, which gate you want?
What do we got? We got the choice?
2 and 4.
We got 2 and 4. I'm gonna take gate number 4, and my name's Jeff.
Okay, good work, Jeff.
one rider only.
Greg, Jeff Hancock going out all on his lonesome for heat 22. Not quite sure what that was all about, but Hancock will have to do some... He can't really do anything about this, because even if he wins the race, the 2nd and 3rd will beat him. So
Yep.
Slovenia effectively are through to heat 23.
Yep, and we wish Gino Manzarek all the very best, of course.
Barring a mechanical failure, of course, there still is an opportunity for America. If Greg wins the race and one of the Slovenians doesn't finish,
Yeah.
then America will go through, but it's highly unlikely. And this is where the loss of Luke Becker really has hurt America tonight, because without the reserve rider, only down to 1 rider, it's an uphill task for them to have any real further participation in tonight's meeting. Russia, of course, they can relax, they're through. Denmark can't. Denmark have almost certainly got a race off in heat 23 against Slovenia. And with Zagar in the race, backed up by somebody, well, who knows? But still, for me, Denmark are still favourites to make the 3rd place and make the Speedway of Nations final next week, really. As a pair, they are the stronger pair left in the competition.
Yep, so 4th v 5th is right here, and it is going to be tricky for Greg Hancock. If he wins the race, he's just got to hope that there's some sort of mechanical failure from a Slovenian rider. So there we are, Speedway of Nations, and we await the riders.
Well, after obviously the pick of gates, riders will have to have a few moments just to get their kit organised, particularly Slovenia, because they're going to have 3 races on the spin here.
Yes.
They're going to do 21, 22 and 23. And there's no doubt that they're going to need a bit of extra time before 23 if they go through now, because equipment is going to be red hot. And it's slightly unfortunate for them, but that's the way the rules and the way the cards have fallen for them. So we're waiting now. We're seeing, looks like, is that Skoya coming out for another ride? Is that young Skoya? Does look like he may well be coming out for Slovenia.
Yes,
That's good, isn't it? That's a great moment for him.
Under 21 rider.
You know, the third
Yep.
place in Heat 21 has enabled them to come through to this stage. And Zagar will go from gate 1, Skoyer off gate 3. And as I say, Slovenia are pretty much, to all intents and purposes, they're in the next race as well.
So it's Matti Zagar and Nick Skoyer in red and blue for Slovenia, and Greg Hancock, the sole USA representative, in yellow. And we know that Denmark await the winners of this in Heat 23.
You just wonder whether they may have to review the reserve rider here, because with the lack of under 21 riders in some nations, 3 riders here would certainly have bolstered the American course. You see how vulnerable teams are where they've only got 2 riders.
Yes, so riders just waiting to push off here. Jeff Hancock.
Yeah, Jeff has burst on the scene tonight, there's no doubt about that. He has been outstanding for America. I don't think anybody had heard of Jeff Hancock before tonight's event, but we know all about him now.
Crowd have enjoyed themselves tonight, no question. It's good to see. Christina Turnbull, our referee, cannot put the 2 minutes on until directed by Phil Morris, the race director.
Here we go. Greg Hancock, the 4-time world champion, just making his way sedately up to ride. He knows the situation. If he hits the front, then he's just got to cross his fingers that no harm comes to another rider, but a rider packs up.
And it's very ironic that USA-Slovenia was the race where Gino crashed out.
Absolutely, you're right. Yeah, good shout. Very good shout when Zagar slowed up and Gino Manzera's just got it all wrong. But for Hancock, even if he manages to win this race, they won't go through because second and third beats a win.
Yep, here we go then. Heat 22 here at the Bergring, here in Teterow. And it's the first knockout race between Slovenia and the USA. Here we go with heat number 22 then, and it is Slovenia against the USA. Slovenia with Matti Zagar in red and Nick Skoyer, the under-21 rider, in blue. And it is Greg Hancock in yellow for the USA. Gino Manzera's unfortunately ruled out with injury in the race that was between Slovenia and the USA. So if Greg Hancock wins the race here, because of the fact that second and third count some more with a bonus point from one of the riders, then that would be Slovenia through, unless a Slovenia rider has a mechanical failure, and USA would go through 3-2. But anything can happen. Slovenia are in this race when I said they couldn't even qualify. How about that?
There you go. And young Skoja here has got an opportunity for another ride. Slovenia are effectively going to have 3 rides on the spin now, because unless something quite extraordinary happens, they will be in the very next race against Denmark as well. Zagar on the inside, just getting himself sorted out. Hancock, who made a good start from gate 4 earlier on, he'll be hoping to do something similar again. Heat 22, here we go.
Yep, here we go then. It is Slovenia in red and blue, Hancock in yellow. All Slovenia have to do is complete 4 laps. That is the simple task ahead of them. And Zagar has made the start here. Now Hancock will try and go around the outside down the back straight. Now, all Slovenia have to do is safely get through the next 3 and a bit laps here, and they will be in the last chance runoff with Denmark for a place in the Speedway of Nations final. Hancock has the lead, Zagar's second. He's just got to sit there and ensure that his partner Skoyer gets through this race.
But Skoyer's struggling, his steel shoe's hanging off. He's going to have a long 4 laps. It's going to be extremely uncomfortable for the other 21 rider. He now gets rid of his steel shoe. Drama here. Can he complete the 4 laps?
Well.
Very uncomfortable for the youngster. He's going to have to leg trail, Nigel. I've done it myself. It's very uncomfortable there.
Could you believe it? Greg Hancock with the lead.
Couldn't script it, could you?
No, Matti Zagar second, and it looks as though Skoyer might just get around here with no steel shoe. Hancock is going to complete an amazing personal night for him. It's his birthday tomorrow, but it is Slovenia who go through to the final. Slovenia are through to the final race of the night against Denmark, and it's a straight shootout between Slovenia and Denmark for a place in Wroclaw and the Speedway of Nations final. Great performance from that man, Greg Hancock. Wonderful solo display from him tonight. 5 wins in 7 outings for Greg
Brilliant.
Hancock, a 4 times world champion. And he has done himself and his country proud tonight. Alas, to no avail. And Nick Scoyer is coming round to try and find his missing steel shoe. How about that?
Quite expensive steel shoes these days. So yeah, well worth going out and picking it up. But I can assure you, very awkward to ride without one, and it really was quite dramatic. I thought he might get off the bike. I saw him get in trouble, and then you saw it dangling off his ankle, and then he finally got rid of it because it was annoying him. But Greg Hancock, well, he never lets his country down, does he? Another wonderful display from the 4-time former world champion.
He'll be back here in September for the Grand Prix, Greg Hancock, but our last race of the night will feature Denmark and Slovenia for the place in the Speedway of Nations final.
Hancock back in the pits and puts his bike in the Parc Fermé, where it has to be for a minimum of 30 minutes. Here we see Zagar makes a good start, but Hancock just slips around the outside, sweet as you like. Zagar understands the situation. Then the drama, of course, for young Scorcher here. You see him there now, he's looking down, he can't believe it, trying to get rid of his steel shoe. Very uncomfortable. He finally does so, but then has to leg trail, because without it, your left foot won't slide across the surface. But he managed to complete the laps, and that means he's probably almost certainly going to be out in the next race. Hancock has been exemplary once again for his team, representing the USA in great style, celebrating in great style as well. Fabulous motorcyclist, 48 years old tomorrow, and that's quite a birthday present. Doesn't quite manage to get it. Unfortunate for America, but Hancock's done a great job.
Yeah, he has. Well done to him. Superb stuff from Greg Hancock, and now we're down to a straight shootout between Denmark and Slovenia to join Russia and Germany in the Speedway of Nations final next weekend, Friday and Saturday. Our next event, of course, is in Bellevue, Manchester on Tuesday evening, and we look forward to that. Great Britain and also,
Sweden,
of course, Australia, Sweden, Czech Republic, France, Italy and Finland.
Yeah, good line-up.
Terrific night.
Got to say that Sweden, Australia and Britain are favourites, but as we've seen tonight, we can see upsets and we can see surprises. So we look forward to Tuesday in Manchester. Weather forecast looks good, so it should be a really good evening of racing.
Yeah, looking forward to that in Manchester on Tuesday, but we're still awaiting the riders for our final race of the night. It will be a 3rd straight race for Slovenia, and they still have that chance. A reminder, if you finish 2nd and 3rd in this race, it will get you a place in the Speedway of Nations final.
Well, there's plenty of work to do, isn't there, if you go through the last chance saloon heats at the end of the night, because this will be the 8th outing for Zagar. And I've got to say, he's had to work very hard. His fitness and his machinery have been tested to the maximum tonight. Jan Scorcher has done his team proud. I do sense that Denmark will be favourites, though. You've got to believe that Denmark as a pair with Jepsen Jensen and Kenneth Bjerre, they'd be bitterly disappointed if they don't get the better of Slovenia here in Heat 23. So you've got to believe that Denmark will join Russia and Germany in the finals next week.
Yep, so we'll see how this goes. We're still awaiting the riders, still awaiting the competitors for this one.
Denmark have had to be very patient. They've been standing around waiting and watching all this go on.
Let's find out from the race director, Phil Morris.
Team Denmark, please select your gates and riders for the final heat.
Yeah, we'll take 1 and 3.
Michael Jepsen Jensen on gate 1, and it looks like Kenneth Bjerre will go in blue from gate 3.
Team Slovenia, please select your gate.
Zagar will go from gate 2 in white, And Skorja looks like he's going to go in gate 4 in yellow. So busy time for those two lads from Slovenia. They've had to race the last 2 races, and this will be their 3rd one.
Yeah, this is something you flagged up when we first talked about the system as well, Cal, didn't you? You said effectively a nation could be facing 3 on the bounce to get through.
And the very first round, that's what's happened.
Yep.
And it's tough, and for them to go through, this will be Matty Zagar's 8th appearance on the night, so that's more than a Grand Prix. So tough work for the rider tonight that has to go through all the races. But I get the feeling, Nige, that Denmark will be bitterly disappointed if they don't pull this off. They only need to finish 2nd and 3rd. Zagar hits the front. You've got to believe that Kenneth Bjerre and Jepsen Jensen have the quality to beat an under-21 rider in Skorja. Got to believe that Denmark are favourites to join Russia and Germany.
Yes, and the situation, of course, there is more pressure on Denmark here, you feel, because of what happened in the World Cup last year, Kelv.
Yeah, absolutely. They were almost, well, I've got to say it, they were embarrassed last year to lose out to Latvia in that race-off with Iversen and Lebedevs. They didn't make the race-off. They've had 2 disappointing seasons, and Jepsen Jensen and Kenneth Bjerre have got to restore Danish pride this year, and this is an opportunity for them to go a long way to doing that. I expect them to do it. They should do it. They have the quality, they have the experience, and 2nd and 3rd's what they need. I'm sure Henrik Müller there, the assistant team manager, talking in animated terms to Jepsen Jensen, probably just reiterating what's required here in Heat 23.
Yep, so big ride coming up then, pressure on, and we await. I have to say, at the end of this format, there are big gaps, and
well, it doesn't help when you have a team having to do 3 races on this speed.
Yeah.
They inevitably have to have a break. Denmark have had to be very patient. It must be at least 30 minutes since they've last ridden. Track will be different, engines will be cold, so they've got to really keep themselves focused throughout that time. They've known that they had a race to come, but they wouldn't have foreseen how long they would have had to wait. Big moments for Team Denmark, this.
Yeah, pressure on. Hans Nielsen, the team manager, legendary rider, but they even failed to make the race off last year, and the famous Speedway nation that is Denmark, with all the wonderful world champions like Hans, Ollie Olsen, Erik Gundersen, Nicky Pedersen, and they failed to even make the race off last summer.
Yeah.
They have to get this. They have to somehow get through here.
Absolutely, and I think that it would be a huge shock if they weren't to. For me, they are red-hot favourites to go through now, and it would be fitting that they are in the final next week. Absolutely. And they are Kenneth Bjerre and Jepsen Jensen, possibly not their first choice. If Pedersen hadn't had the injury, Nicky, he started the season very well, but unfortunately the hand injury has slowed his progress this season.
Probably doing him a favour not riding this week.
Yes, absolutely. More time to recover. And Niels Christian Iversen with the shoulder problem, which is a hangover from last year, ruled himself out. So plenty of representation for Denmark. They have weight in numbers, but they're going to have to wait patiently for Slovenia to turn up, because Slovenia have had to work overtime here. I'm not sure if they get paid overtime, but certainly Zagar is. This is 8th race on the night.
Yeah, 8 races in a night. That is above and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if there's any other format that would see you ride as many times as that. Grand Prix, of course, if you go right through to the final, that's 7 races. So this is just one extra, but super fit these days, Speedway riders. Zagar should be able to take it in his stride.
Well, we are preparing for the push-off for the final race of the night to decide the 3rd nation to go through from tonight. Here we go. Big race coming up. So
Denmark making their way. No surprise to see them first out. They are the ones with all the pressure. They're the ones that have had to wait, and they emerge onto the arena now. Last race of the night, plenty riding on it, of course. This really is quite a big moment for both nations. You know, if Slovenia could pull off a miracle here, then that would be quite a story in itself. But Kenneth Bjerre, Michael Jepsen Jensen have got to do the business for Denmark.
Absolutely. So the final race of the night to decide the 3rd qualifying nation for the Speedway of Nations final is Heat 23, Slovenia and Denmark, next. Here we go, the final race of the night. It's the final knockout. We already know Russia and Germany are safely through to meet Poland in Wrocław over 2 nights of the Speedway of Nations final next Friday and Saturday. Who will it be? Slovenia, will they go through, or will it be Denmark? Denmark with Michael Jepsen-Jensen in red off gate 1 and Kenneth Bier in blue off gate 3. And Slovenia have Mati Zegar in white off gate 2, who's got to look for his partner, Nick Skoja. A reminder, if you finish 2nd and 3rd in this Speedway of Nations knockout, you will win the race by virtue of the fact that it's 3 points for a win, 2 for 2nd, and effectively 1 plus a bonus for 3rd place, finishing behind your colleague. That is what gives you the race win. It's Slovenia against Denmark, and it's the final knockout to see who meets Russia, Germany and Poland next weekend.
Absolutely. Denmark red hot favourites here. It's been a long night for Slovenia. 8 times they've been on track tonight and they've been out in the last 3 races. Zegar having to work hard. Skoja on the outside. Got to believe that this is an unbelievable moment for him. Jepsen-Jensen and Kenneth Bier, all the pressure there.
Here we go, heat number 23. Great start, Zegar. He's got the trap. Now what can Skoja do? The under-21 rider for Slovenia. Huge pressure on the Danes here now. Jepsen-Jensen has allowed Bier around. Skoja's going high and wide into the dirt, and he's lost ground. He's getting close to the air fence, but he's gaining ground again now. Team riding needed from Jepsen-Jensen in red and Bier in blue. Bier's looking over his shoulder. They have to look after each other here in 2nd and 3rd. As things stand, it is Denmark who will go through to the final.
Yeah, Zegar brilliant away from the tails. Young Skoja, well, he gave it everything on that opening lap. I thought he was going to run into the air fence, but he somehow held on, giving it everything out the back. But at this moment in time, Bier and Jepsen-Jensen are going to hang on and go through to the final. Zegar's ridden brilliantly tonight. He's out in front, but Bier and Jepsen-Jensen doing just enough to go through to the final.
Yep, Mati Zegar is going to take the checkered flag, but down through the final 2 turns we go, and it's Denmark who do enough by getting 2nd and 3rd, and effectively 3 plus a bonus against 3 for Slovenia. And Denmark, that famous Speedway nation who failed to even make the race-off in the World Cup last year, have now made the final of the Monster Energy FIM Speedway of Nations. Well, it's a brand new format, it's something fresh, it's something that gives us a bit of variety on the world stage. It's caught 1 or 2 of us out, including a commentator, but we've had a great night, Kelvin.
We have indeed, and Denmark are relieved. I sense there's not... Don't know if they can be overjoyed. They've had to do it. They haven't been completely convincing, but in that race they did what they needed to do, and they will be chuffed to bits to go through to the final and build on tonight's performance. Got to say, Zegar has been terrific for Slovenia. He has really led from the front and has picked up plenty of points. And young Skoja there, the under-21 rider, has done himself proud, and I'm sure the experience will be very valuable for him moving forward. A dramatic night of Speedway.
Just to confirm then the final standings, Russia and Germany go through to the final automatically as the top 2 qualifiers. Denmark win the knockout heats, so it's Russia, Germany and Denmark who meet Poland, and we'll see you all in Manchester on Tuesday at Bellevue for Race Off 2. Decent night, Kelv.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've got to believe there's a sense of relief there in Team Denmark. Not completely convincing tonight, but they did it in the end. They had to do it the hard way. They had to be very patient at the end of the night because it's at least half an hour since they last raced. Zegar's been riding in every race. He's red hot. He was so sharp away from the tapes. A fabulous ride from him. Got to give young Skoja a lot of credit here. Watch this effort down the back straight. He gives it absolutely everything. He roars around the outside. I thought he was going to disappear into the air fence. He just about hangs onto the bike. And as hard as he tries, he just can't get the better of the Danish pair in front of him. Zegar wins comfortably. Denmark 2nd and 3rd. They pick up the bonus point. They're through to the Speedway of Nations final at the end of next week. Henrik Müller and the team delighted to see their team through.
Yeah, brilliant stuff in the end. Denmark relieved, I think, more than anything.
Agree. Absolutely agree. Michael Jepsen Jensen celebrating on the back wheel, but got to say they're going to have to pick their performance up. They'll need to be better than that in Wroclaw if they want to get amongst the medals.
Let's hear from Michael Jepsen Jensen with Kiri now.
Well, you made it a little bit of hard work, but on the way to the finals, Michael.
We needed that last heat for practice, you know. Nah, it was a tough evening. We started out quite good. I felt comfortable, but just like missed the starts anyway. So we did it a tough way, but we're in the final, and that's what we were fighting for. Yeah, we know for a few heats that the second and the third place was better, and also for this final rerun. Yeah, so that was where we put our focus, and yeah, we managed to get through, and that's it.
Did you enjoy riding with Kenneth as a pair?
For sure.
Okay, we'll see you guys on Friday and Saturday. Congratulations.
For sure we do. Thanks a lot.
Well, I think he was pretty honest there. They did make hard work of it at times. They weren't quite as sharp as they would have liked. Race off 1 is done and dusted. We've got Russia, Germany and Denmark through.
Yep, and then on Tuesday in Manchester, so we have Czech Republic, Finland, Great Britain, France, Sweden, Italy and Australia. And so that should be great in Manchester on Tuesday night. We'll look forward to that. And we hope you can join us. Here come the Russians. Yep, winners tonight.
They've got a good team as well because they've got a good under-21 rider. Gleb Chuganov from last year's evidence and Lezhino, he was outstanding. And you've got to believe that no, it's a great night for Russia, and they'll go through with plenty of confidence to Wroclaw for next week's finals on Friday and Saturday. Germany have been a great night for them. One of their best nights as a team, I think, in their history. Kai Hülkenberg and Smolinski have ridden really well. Pepe Rudolph, their team manager, will be really proud to see the nation going through as in second place without having to go through those crunch race-off heats at the end of the night. And they've done it in style. And for Denmark, well, a sense of relief about the team. But as Michael Jepsen Jensen says, they've got it done and they can forget about tonight now and build on that and try and produce a performance in Wroclaw over 2 days that will see them amongst the medals. Denmark are accustomed to winning. They don't like missing out, but they're in the finals next week.